Welcome back to the Name Redacted podcast, America's most beloved podcast, the most downloaded Red Sox podcast in the world. Rome is burning. Red Sox fans are freaking the fuck out. I had to bring back the voice of reason. Coley Mick's in the house. Pat L is here. Tyler Milliken's here. Jake, as always, camera is fixed. Jake, thumbs up.
Good to go.
Good to go, Jake. He's back. Coley Mick is here. I don't even know where to start because if you're listening to this right now, you're never going to believe this. Zach Eflin signed with the Tampa Bay Rays for 3 years and $40 million. And God forbid this motherfucker wants to save money on his taxes. He's from Florida. He wants to go there. So Bob Nightingale puts out there that the Red Sox made the exact same offer as the Tampa Bay Rays did, and he chose to sign with the Rays. So now you've got people saying, what has become of the Boston Red Sox? That they can't, even at a similar or the exact same contract offer, they can't sign a big show of hands. If you're listening to this right now, how many people knew A, that Zach Eflin was a free agent, B, knew who Zach Eflin even was? Who gives a fuck if he signed with the Rays? Who fucking cares? Like, it's December 1st. It's December 1st. And I don't know why every single year, once we get to like January, maybe even sometimes February, and then you start to see all these free agents get scooped up and you're like, why? Why did I get so worked up in November that my team didn't do anything? No one does anything in November. Nothing ever happens in November. But for some reason, there's like a couple guys here, a couple guys there. Coley, I see you. We'll get to you in a second. There's a couple guys here, a couple guys there that get signed, and you just assume that November is supposed to be this busy month. It's never a busy month. It just isn't. It's December 1st, December Uno. Coley?
Kurt Schilling.
Kurt Schilling was a trade. So I'm not counting that.
It was Thanksgiving.
I know, but it was a trade. I'm talking free agency right now.
Look, we're talking moves. We're talking off-season moves. And Kurt Schilling being Thanksgiving is why, to this day, people are still antsy. The second free agency opens.
So, man, remember Thanksgiving 2003 when Theo Epstein went to Kurt Schilling's house and the Red Sox traded for Kurt Schilling and then they won the 2004 World Series? Where's that urgency? Where's Chaim Bloom going to fucking Aaron Judge's house in California on Thanksgiving and having Thanksgiving dinner with him? I know Coley historically does not like Aaron Judge because he's not a winner, and that's true. That's true. He's never won anything. He's now won the American League MVP, which is an individual award, but that he certainly has more control over the MVP than he does over winning a World Series.
When you have two more hits than I do in the whole playoffs, I disagree. IKF was better in the postseason than Aaron Judge was. That's just a fact.
I'm not disagreeing. Pat, I feel like you have a take.
No, I don't necessarily have a take. I mean, he's not entirely wrong. There's nothing really to say. The guy did not perform in the playoffs. There's not much else to talk about.
Now, what did I do wrong? What did I see wrong?
He hit that home run against the Guardians, and every Yankee fan was just like, this is the most clutch performance in baseball history. And it was just like, congrats, you're beating up on a team that wasn't supposed to be in the playoffs at home after the Guardians had already won the game for you. Like, this is an unserious fan base, an unserious player. Like, he's the king of, we're up 5, I'll hit a home run now. Like, he doesn't do anything other than that. But I will say, if the only price tag is $8,300, that feels insultingly low to him.
You think so?
I think so, yeah.
Not that I want to start. I mean, not that I wanted to start on Zach Eflin either, but not that I want to start on Aaron Judge.
I thought Zach Eflin was Scott Efros. I had no idea. No clue. Not a clue.
3 years, $40 million. I'm not saying that like Zach Eflin's not a bad reliever, but like I gotta get a little bit a different, maybe a higher tier for 340 than Zach Eflin. People are they're antsy, and I think You saw the Sam Kennedy quotes today that fucking. Did you know that Chris Cotillo is suspended from the podcast? I think he's not even suspended. I think I just banned him. Like he's not. Like we're right now holding tryouts for the Tyler.
We have an inside favorite in Chad Jennings.
But I haven't talked to him. Like you gotta want this. Like I'm not fucking beating down your door to be the name redacted Red Sox beat writer of the year. Like I'm not doing that. Like I need to see urgency. Jen McCaffrey was another candidate. Who else do we name? Chad Jennings is definitely the leader in the clubhouse. There's some that I think are just above that. Like I don't think Alex Spear would be down, but I feel like Chad Jennings is a great what Coley?
Alex Spear would be going backwards in his career if he started coming on here at the whim that we.
That's what I just said.
Drag Cotillo in. Yeah, I was agreeing with you.
Yeah, stupid ass Cotillo posted this. It says Sam Kennedy says the Red Sox were so busy that he was checking his phone for updates on ongoing talks during Thanksgiving dinner. Quote, there could be some deals and moves that are imminent here that could pop up at any moment. Okay.
That's free agency.
That's how that works. Zach Eflin. Yeah, fucking Zach Eflin. He was teasing Zach Eflin. They thought they had it in the bag. They made a competitive offer, and then lo and behold, he sneaks away. The Tampa Bay Rays pried him from the Red Sox cold dead hands, and now he's a Tampa Bay Ray. We're probably going to live that one down, or not live that one down for a long, long time. But I didn't want to start with Aaron Judge. However, the fact that it's 50-50, like that's the report that came out today. The Yankees put $300 million on the table, and it's not 70-30. They're saying it is 50-50 between the Yankees and the Giants. And Yankee fans are like, what do you mean? Like this contract is going to make him the highest paid player in Major League Baseball, and you still have to think about it? Did you not think about you booing this motherfucker out of Yankee Stadium during the playoffs? Like maybe if it comes down to like a couple million here, a couple million there, and the Giants, by the way, said that they were going to have the best offer for Judge. So if you're 8-300, what if the Giants are 8-320 and he gets to go home and he doesn't have to play for you fucking idiots? That sounds like a great deal to me. Not that I wanted to start there. I didn't want to start there.
The other thing I throw out, like you look at MLB trade rumors, they had him in 8 years, $332 million. So great. Shout out to the Yankees, 8-300. Giants are at least going to get in that ballpark. I
guarantee you there'll be in a ballpark next year.
Multiple.
Yeah, several. A ton.
Wasn't the original report Judge was shocked at like how low the Giants offer was? So that means it was like 8-310. And then the Yankees came in with 8-300 and he was like, what the fuck is going on here?
I actually didn't see that report about Judge and the Giants. I mean, maybe he just needs to accept that he's not that good.
That's true. What I don't understand about these fucking teams is they all seem to come in lower with their first offer. No one really, there needs to be a GM who approaches this side of it like Boris approaches, and I'm sure Pat can speak to this more, but how Boris approaches his clients. Like there's no GM who's just like, yeah, here's my offer. I know it's not going to get beat. Do you want to sign here or not? This shouldn't take as long as it does for certain players. Bryce Harper and Manny Machado shouldn't get signed when spring training's already underway. Like that shit should not happen.
Isn't there one guy who does do that though? It's Dave Dombrowski, who sees, hey, great, the Cardinals want to give you $189 million. Yeah. Here's $20 fucking million more. We don't give a fuck. You're going to sign the contract and you're in Boston next week. We're not talking about it. I don't feel like talking about it. He's probably the only one, but that's the analytical mindset. The worst thing you can do is pay above value for someone in their eyes, because then they consider it a loss no matter what.
Well, Dombrowski with JD refused to budge off the 110 number, and that's
his finest moment.
I love JD, but I also love how Dave Dombrowski just big dicked him and Boris the whole time. They're like, all right, 110. Boris is like, we're trying to get north of 200 here. That's awesome. Here's 110. Yeah, but look at this number, and that number. We're talking about a $200 million player. That's great. Here's his contract for $110 million over 5 years. You get back to us by the end of the weekend, and we can wrap this thing up. And he's like, all right,
so antsy. I was like, just up it a little, see what happens. Dombrowski was like, I sure fucking won't. There's no one else bidding for this guy. It's 110.
It was the D-backs, and you know how unserious of a franchise they were. That was the market. It was fucking the Red Sox and the D-backs. Like, at some point, we were probably a week away from Dombrowski being like, all right, 100. Do you want to keep going? You want to keep going? This guy's going to be in Japan by the end of this.
I hear Taipei looks great this time of year.
Yeah. Fucking, we love acronyms. JD and the KBO. How's that sound? Get the fuck out of here. But anyways, I know it's been a weird few weeks with Xander because Peter Gammons, God bless him. Well, I mean, specifically with with the Gammons tweet was weird. That made it weird because the whole season you figured, all right, like the Red Sox obviously want him back and Xander wants to be here. One would assume, I mean, the rumors at the end of the year were that they were going to get something done like right after the World Series. That was over a month ago, or roughly a month ago at this point. And the last, I guess, report that we got, if you can even call it that, is this fucking bizarre tweet from Peter Gammons. And I'm going to read it word for word.
Thank you.
I'm going to read this tweet word for word from, don't get me wrong, a legend in the game. I don't want to take anything away from him besides his cell phone. As ever, comma, fact, comma, but. Let me start over. I just want to get the full context here. As ever, comma, fact, comma, but, while one doubts Bogaerts would switch positions, comma, in the past 3 days, front office folks from 3 teams claim they've been told he has severed Boston ties and won't be going back. Whether that's negotiating leverage talk or reality, there's no confirmation. So he's just throwing this out into the wind, being like, I don't know. Like, I can't confirm it. I'm just fucking Peter Gammons, one of the most legendary names in baseball media history. I'm going to throw out this wild allegation that Xander Bogaerts has severed ties with the Boston Red Sox. I'm going to throw out the fact that 3 teams told me this, but then I'm going to end it by saying, well, I can't confirm it. So fuck it. Here's this tweet that's just going to cause mass chaos in the streets of Boston. Tyler.
You know what's absurd about this too is Peter Gammons acting like he couldn't confirm this, or as if he couldn't get a hold of someone in the Red Sox organization, when 2 weeks ago he put out a piece when the whole James Click situation came out, airing out the Red Sox front office for, disagreements about scout philosophy and all these different things. How many times has he tipped Alex Cora's hand 2 or 3 days before it actually happened in the last 2 years about relievers he liked, in spring training or whatever it may be? We know Cora and Gammons have a really good relationship. If he could confirm that, and that's where I sit there and I'm like, all right, Scott Boras talking to these other teams, it's probably taking a lot of work to convince them that Bogaerts isn't just, seeing what's out there and then coming back to the Red Sox and, going to settle to some degree, or at least, favor them. And the way I'm kind of looking at it is, look, John Heyman today put out an article saying, my prediction, Bogaerts is going back to the Red Sox. That's Scott Boras' mouthpiece. Mark Feinsand last night, same thing. We have all these suitors. We still think Xander Bogaerts is going back to the Red Sox. Robert Murray today. Xander Bogaerts, yeah, I'm not buying this Gammons report. Still think he's going back to the Red Sox. That's the level of convincing they have going here. And I think if you're looking as well at those front offices that are sitting there and who could be airing these out, there's 3 front offices in this equation, in this race right now, that have Red Sox connections. Dave Dombrowski, Mike Hazen, who was Dombrowski's GM here and in Arizona, which surprisingly, that's the team that popped up the same day as this report. And then you have Jed Hoyer as well in Chicago, who was obviously part of the organization when Bogaerts signed here, left. There's a lot of connections in this competition, for Xander Bogaerts right now.
So here's how it breaks down. because if you're reading these reports, then you will be led to believe that there is a massive market for Xander Bogaerts. And in a perfect world, there would be. It's not a knock on the player. It's more the game of musical chairs. It's more the game of who has the ability to spend on Xander Bogaerts and who has the fit for a Xander Bogaerts. San Diego, that'd be a nice little story, but I'm sorry, Xander Bogaerts is not signing with you to play first base. The Seattle Mariners, they want him to play second base, which is not going to happen. The Phillies, Dave Dombrowski, sure, but they're all in on Trey Turner. And then you have the Minnesota Twins, who are pathetically sucking the toes with barbecue sauce all over it of Carlos Correa, trying to get him to come back. So, and I saw like the D-backs thing. I'm not even considering that. There was some, I think Buster Only had some stupid fucking tweet about the Yankees. If they miss on Aaron Judge, then they'll pivot to Xander Bogaerts. No, I don't think that that's the play either. So really, this comes down to the Red Sox and the Cubs. I do consider the Cubs to be a legit threat to sign Xander Bogaerts, a contender in the Xander Bogaerts sweepstakes, if you can even call it that, because at the end of the day, like what was the, I'll pull it up right now. The exact quote from before the season, Sean McAdam had it, where like Xander basically spit in the face of anyone who dared question whether or not he was a shortstop. Xander Bogaerts, this is from March 15th, 2022. Xander Bogaerts said he's heard speculation about being asked to move positions by the club. Quote, "I'm a shortstop. Why would I be thinking of moving to second base or third base?" The only thing that statement was missing, "I'm a shortstop, you fucking idiot. Why would I be thinking of moving to second base or third base?" So all those other teams essentially are either asking him to play another position or their top priority is a shortstop that is not Xander Bogaerts. I can tell you, Xander will be at the winter meetings. So I would imagine he's going to take meetings with other, and the other team that's never really been mentioned but was kind of floated as a potential suitor was the Dodgers. We haven't really heard anything about Xander and the Dodgers either, but that was another team that was kind of out there.
Everything I've heard about the Dodgers is they're kind of sitting this winter out for Shohei.
I mean, it could make sense, but they're still going to need a shortstop once Trey Turner signs somewhere else.
They got Lux and who else? Thought they had someone. Dodgers always have someone.
They always have someone. I don't know. But I do think that Xander will be taking meetings with other teams, but it's also a nice opportunity to get Xander at a table in front of Red Sox executives. Like, let's get in a room and figure this out. If you want to be here, I mean, you know, do you want to be a Chicago Cub? I don't know. Maybe. I don't know if that's like, I can't say like, fuck it. Like, do you want to be a Tampa Bay Ray or a Boston Red Sox for the rest of your career? Like, of course, like there's a disparity in spending the rest of your career somewhere. It's not necessarily a bad thing to be a Chicago Cub, but I think legacy matters with Xander. So yeah, it's a golden opportunity to get in the room with him.
So what scares me with the Cubs, and we saw today the report, I think it was John Morosi who had it. They're going to be pushing very strongly for Christian Vasquez. So if you go ahead and you get Christian Vasquez, the guy who, when he got traded at the trade deadline, Xander Bogaerts spoke out against the organization, starting to say, I don't know what direction we're going in anymore. You know, you traded one of my best friends, the guy I sat next to on the plane all the time, the guy through the minor leagues I was with. All right, well, Christian Vasquez goes to the Cubs. So now he has a buddy to kind of make that, you know, transition with. You throw in David Ross as the manager there, former teammate, Mike Napoli, the first base coach, teammate for a couple years. We know Jed Hoyer, obviously Red Sox connection. Jair, his brother, was traded to the Cubs back in 2012. So there's some kind of understanding of the organization there. Not saying I still think his preference would be to come to the Red Sox, but I don't know. That scares me. That's something that's been on my mind a lot.
Patrick?
What does the Cubs payroll look like? I don't know anything about that team besides Stroman.
Ready to spend.
They
have
got
a ton of money to
Stroman
spend?
and Seiya last offseason. I don't think they didn't even trade Wilson Contreras. They're kind of inept.
That
But do
was
they have
pretty
plenty
funny,
of money
though.
to spend?
when Ian Happ and Wilson Contreras
the trade deadline.
Yeah, they just absolutely hugged it out, being like, "Damn, man, it's been a hell of a ride, bro. Can't believe this is the end." And then neither of them got traded. I think, what did I see? Contreras met with the Cardinals, something like that. Yeah,
talking with the Astros as well.
I've seen Contreras being pitched as a left fielder. I don't know what's going on anymore. If he's going to be playing left, why would we ever have prioritized Jose Abreu over him? Just bring him in as DH.
Apparently, they want to try and split him and Yordan's time between DH and then somewhat use Contreras at catcher as well whenever, they're trying to give, Maldonado a breather or whatever it may be.
Sure, I somewhat get it for the Astros, but they don't even have a GM. So teams with a GM like ourselves, why prioritize Jose Abreu over people who aren't like 40 years old?
Also, over 3 lifetime against Pat.
Over what?
Over 3 lifetime against Pat.
Jose Abreu is?
Yeah.
Jesus.
But you throw in along with Contreras, right? So you start walking down that lane. All right, DH, awesome, can give you something there. Catcher can give you something there where you have, Reese McGuire is probably a backup in the big leagues. Connor Wong, we'll see if he sticks in the big leagues. And it's that support. Part of the reason you wanted to chase after Jose Abreu is something happens to Tristan Casas, who has an injury history now. All right, you could plug and play Wilson Contreras there as well. Yeah, I think he's someone that would fit in that, but I don't know. Were you guys upset over the Jose Abreu stuff? Like, did that kind of set you off that he was the number one off-season target?
No, I think where I arrived on that was 3 years at $60 million for a guy that's going into his age 36 season, which I know that like before we would look at that and be like 36 is ancient. Like plenty of guys age well into their mid to somewhat later 30s. Like I wouldn't have been like, what the fuck are the Red Sox doing if that was the deal that he got? But ultimately, I don't think it's a backbreaker of a miss. Like that should not derail the Red Sox offseason plans, missing out on Jose Abreu. Would have been nice. Are there other options? Yeah, sure. Like I think it opens the door for the Red Sox to have to be more creative. When you were looking at the free agent market and saying, all right, JD Martinez, thanks for 18 and being such a great influence in the clubhouse in the 5 years that you were here, but we're going to look in other directions, and that other direction was Jose Abreu. The fact that he's now at the Houston Astros should not fuck up the entire bulletin board that Heim had going in the front office. But Pat, I wanted to ask you this question.
Yeah.
Because once we brought up the Cubs potentially targeting Christian Vasquez, I know that, you and Bogey are not the same guy. So I'm not asking you to put yourself in Bogey's shoes. But as a player, if you were a free agent
and a Boris guy,
and you are a Boris guy, if you were a free agent and a team went out there and signed one of your best pals as a way to draw you to a team, how much of an impact would that actually have on you?
A good amount, especially, I put Vasquez in this situation would be BJ. If I'm going to go to a new organization, the worst part of the new organization is not really knowing anyone and being uncomfortable, being in that first, say week or 2 weeks, maybe even a month where you're still trying to get good with all the guys and kind of figure everything out. So that's the worst part of it. If your best friend's already over there, it kind of eliminates that. You already have a guy you're going to go to all the time. It seems like, I'm sure Xander's been in the league forever, so I'm sure he's quite familiar with a lot of those guys over there anyway, but it certainly plays a large role. I think the bigger role, though, it's going to play is that Chicago. You're not going, like you say, you're not going to the Diamondbacks. Into Scottsdale's a nice area, but you're not going to any of these weird towns. You're going to Chicago. You're playing for the Cubs, probably the other most historic franchise other than the Red Sox, Yankees, and Dodgers in baseball. It's a lot of that plays. I'm with Tyler. I am nervous about the Cubs. I think if they're going to make a real push to try to become a winning team, I think it could be a nice target for Xander.
How much would the discrepancy in offers have to be for you to take the Cubs offer over the Red Sox offer?
I think
If you're
Xander's
Xander.
I think Xander is my age or a year older.
He's 31.
31, so he's my age. I think similar to him and Judge. I mean, obviously money is the most important thing, but they're both going to look for years because they're going to try to lock up the rest of their career and make sure they have guaranteed money for it. So, I mean, it wouldn't have to. It would. The Red Sox would have to stay at these. And I don't know where they're at right now. Has there been a report what they've recently offered?
They're
Nothing
supposedly,
credible?
I don't remember who had it, but it's like supposedly they're far off on the years and the dollars.
Yeah.
I saw
So-
they were fine with the dollars, but off on the years.
That's what I saw as well.
Okay, makes sense. I
From
mean, that's-
who? Marino. Who he's been credited with some stuff. I know we've kind of gone back and forth. We've had those conversations on here. He has got some credits on some of these Xander Bogaerts teams that ended up playing in. But I'd be lying to you if I didn't say there's been a couple times where Heyman had it in an article the night before and then he presented it the next day. So, but that was, and he's the only person I've seen that report from and no one else has taken it. But Hector Gomez tweeted it out. And I know we do roll with Hector Gomez around here.
Yeah.
I mean, if the Cubs are willing to give a few more years on the deal, I mean, I think it might only take another 2 years on the deal to say, all right, fuck it, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Will
I
the
don't think
Cubs
it's gonna
do
take
that?
much.
Like, they haven't moved like that in recent years. They went with Suzuki because he was like, he's a good player. I wanted him here too, but part of the reason I wanted him is to fit Heim's MO too. Like, let me try and be smarter than everyone. Let me try and get someone a little cheaper for similar production as a higher end guy. That's kind of what the Cubs have done. If they broke the bank for people, Anthony Rizzo wouldn't be in New York still. You know what I mean? Like, Chris Bryant would still be there. They wouldn't have non-tendered Schwarber. Like, they've done a lot of. Ricketts has been really cheap since they won the World Series. They've moved like the Marlins, kind of. Marlins won their World Series and then bottomed out. That's kind of how the Cubs have moved.
Well,
But
yeah,
I think where they are right now, isn't it kind of similar to where they were when they signed John Lester, where they were hoping to get that, that core leadership guy, that face to take the next step? Is that how they view Bogaerts? Because we remember Lester, after being traded and hitting free agency and everything, he said he thought I was going back to the Red Sox. And they put a good deal on their hands. But then the Cubs went and just pushed it over. They went beyond. Is that the Red Sox saying, hey, Xander, we're willing to give you, 5,150, maybe 6,180. But are the Cubs saying, hey, listen, we'll give you, 7,210. You know what? We're really desperate. We'll give you 8,240. Or, maybe knock the AAV down to 28 or whatever. But are they willing to push to that limit where the Red Sox are like, we're willing to pay the AAV over 6 years, but you start talking 7 or 8 because you're trying to get your franchise face right now, that veteran to take your young core? I don't know.
Dude, like, I don't consider what the Cubs have to be a young core the same as it was in 15 or whenever Lester signed there.
I think they're farther. Yeah.
Right. That's what I mean. So, like, everything Xander said, presented, posted on Instagram has made it seem like he just truly wants to be respected. And I don't think the Red Sox have come remotely close to actually respecting him.
No.
And that's frustrating for me. I saw Jake Peavy and Chris Young were talking about it earlier on MLB. And Chris Young kind of said a lot of the things that I had said. Like, Xander would move positions. He won't do it today. He won't do it this season. He'll do it when Meyer's ready in a few years. But you have to pay him like he's going to be a shortstop for that entire contract. And I don't think that's a mistake when you're the Boston fucking Red Sox and you sat out last offseason outside of getting Story. Last offseason was the offseason to really be spending money if you wanted to. And one thought I had before I came on here was, did the Red Sox talk to Correa last offseason? Not with the idea of signing him last offseason, but with the idea, hey, you're probably going to be on the market again next year. It wasn't a typical like that. I don't remember that happening with like a young superstar player taking a true 1-year deal. We all knew there was a 1-year deal unless he got hurt the second he signed it. Did the Red Sox talk to him last offseason like, hey, we do want to pay big money for a shortstop. We would just like him to be 3 years younger.
My understanding of the Correa deal, I'm not sure I'm supposed to be saying these types of things, but my understanding of the Correa deal from people that I've spoken to was that there was a lot of botched shit behind the scenes, which is why he ended up in that 1-year deal. He wasn't supposed to end up there, and I think it was on Correa's side. Like Correa was the one fucking things up, and then they were like, "Well, this is all you got left now. You gotta fucking take this." Type of thing. So instead, because I don't know if there was enough time to get a huge deal at the end. I don't remember what it was, but I remember talking to someone that said it just kind of got fucked at the end. But and also speaking with Xander, I think typically with these bigger deals, especially older guys, you're going to see this team probably front load the contract. So at the back end, they can get rid of the guy if they want to get rid of him. So you're probably, even if you want to pay a little bit more, you're probably not going to be on the hook for the last 2-3 years. Because you might get rid of him if he hasn't been performing. But I agree with Coley. I think Xander will move, and I think that him spitting in people's face about the shortstop thing I think that is Scott Boras talking, saying, "Hey, listen, let's say this because we want you to get paid as a shortstop because shortstops historically get paid more than any other position in the infield, maybe third base, but this is where he wants to be because it gets paid the most." I don't think that's him being like, "Fuck you, everyone. I'm being a shortstop." I think he's saying, "Fuck you, I'm going to be a shortstop in the next couple of years." But I think he's a team guy. He's one of the biggest team guys I think we've seen in recent years for Boston. I think he would move. It's just going to take time.
He would absolutely, I've never doubted for a second he would move, but you have to pay him as if he's going to be your franchise shortstop. And also, we don't have another shortstop. That's part of it too. Kike Hernandez is not a reliable shortstop. Trevor Story is not a reliable shortstop. There's a reason these players play other positions. There's a reason these players don't play full seasons. Messing around with Xander after we messed around with Mookie, I know it was different. It really fucking wasn't. Messing around with, we've talked about this before. If you let Xander walk, you may as well trade Devers the same fucking day. He will not re-sign if Xander's not. We talk about Vasquez. Yeah, Vasquez is a friend. Vasquez and Xander weren't groping each other on top of the water coolers like him and Devers have been doing for years. That's a much tighter friendship. I think if you sign Devers first, then Xander's number might come down a little bit. And by the way, Xander's number should never come down. I hope he holds out to the last possible second. He deserves every dollar. Anyone who's worried about the 7th year or however long he signs, fuck you. That's what you should think. You're an asshole. I completely forgot how gaudy his numbers were when he was 20 in 2013 during that postseason run. 296 with a 900 OPS, hitting bombs off Max Scherzer, hitting bombs in the World Series. This guy has always been the Boston Red Sox. And now, push comes to shove, I said in spring training, give him 5/150, he'd sign it. Now we're here and it's going to A, cost more, and B, he might go somewhere else. It's fucking infuriating.
Yeah, Coley, you nailed it. And now you're going to play this game where someone like Peter Gammons puts out that report and everyone's sitting here panicking. When you get to free agency, you are overpaying now. That's just what it is. You're on the open market. And I think to bring it back to the Zach Eflin stuff, right? Or Jose Abreu, those are guys we sit at and we're like, okay, you don't overextend for them. You know what I mean? Those guys you like, all right, sure. For Xander Bogaerts, who I think in spring training, the reason we heard that Trevor Story quote saying, hey, I'm here to play second base for 1 year, I think the Red Sox were pretty okay thinking, we're going to have a really good year here. Xander Bogaerts isn't going to have crazy leverage on us. We expect him to still have another bad year defensively at shortstop. Well, no, he put the work in, 88th percentile, it's above average. He put it in, and you saw everybody on that damn team speak up for Xander Bogaerts as the clubhouse, struggled, went through different things, spoke out against the front office. They lost all that leverage in 1 year, but I think they were feeling a little cocky after 2021, saying, hey, we're the smartest guys in the room. We're, it's only up from here. And I go back to that Andrew Friedman quote, and Stats, tweeted about this the other day and kind of tipped me off to it again. But Andrew Friedman, if you're always rational about every free agent, you'll finish third on every free agent. When it comes to Xander Bogaerts, extending Rafael Devers or even pitching and stuff like that, not Zach Eflin, higher end pitching, those are the guys you overextend for. Because that's what it means to keep your clubhouse together, to keep your franchise where it needs to go. And as we're saying, and I watched that same clip as you, Coley, they were saying the Red Sox will have no identity if Xander Bogaerts leaves. That's exactly it. He walks and you lose that voice in the clubhouse right now. They're going to have to panic and do something. Money will be spent, but it's going to be a panic move and a pivot. And that's how you end up in Hanley land and Pablo land, where you're throwing money at whatever, 30-ish year old hoping they can do what they did in their 20s. You're paying for past performance, not future performance.
Well, that's I do think they would pivot to Correa, who will also have other suitors, but it's Like if you're trying to look at it rationally, if you just turn them into Bill James, just numbers, yeah, it probably makes more sense to sign Correa. If you remove every human element, yeah, it probably makes more sense. But that's not how this works at all. It would just feel wrong. It would be like putting your shoes on your wrong feet. It would just feel incorrect. The only good part about Correa is the Yankees already hate him and he hates them. That's the only positive. But Xander also does. So it does, like, that's not even a plus. It's just a plus for Correa. So yeah, it doesn't make any sense. None of this it should have been done. We shouldn't be even talking about this. We should be talking about Rodon, who they're not even fucking interested in for some reason.
Or Bassett.
I'm not that interested in Bassett, but
I would love to have Bassett here. I just know that that's another guy that they're like, eh.
Yeah,
well, you know why? You want to know why they're eh? Because for some reason they chose to stay over the luxury tax. For absolutely no fucking reason, when anyone who was paying attention to that team knew they were not going to the playoffs that year. That, hey, oh, yeah, let's go get Eric Hosmer. Congrats. Let's go get Tommy Pham. But let's not fix the fucking pitching staff that's underwater. Let's just hope it somewhat comes together. They just played musical chairs. And now you're paying those repercussions where, yeah, if you go and get a QO guy, you're giving up a second, a fifth, and $1 million in international pool money. That's the price you have to pay on top of that.
I can't do another offseason of international pool money. It costs us Mookie Betts. If that's what we're worried about with qualifying offer guys, then just sign Conforto and call it an offseason. Just end it right there. Don't even get 25. Don't even fill out the rest of the roster. Just get Conforto and see you in 23.
I'm going to ask Tyler Milliken a question, and then I'm going to ask him to think about it as we talk about Blue Moon. But before we talk about Blue Moon, I will ask Tyler this question. If Xander Bogaerts signs elsewhere and the contract in your mind is stomachable, like it is a contract that you feel the Boston Red Sox 1000% could have paid that, would you have lost your confidence in Chaim Bloom? I want you to think about that while we talk about Blue Moon, because baseball season's over, but you can still feel that ballpark nostalgia with Blue Moon. In fact, Blue Moon was born in a ballpark at the Sandlot Brewery in Denver, Colorado. Blue Moon's one-of-a-kind experience isn't just for baseball season. It's also perfect for the holiday season. If you're Pat Light, a Blue Moon is perfect for every single night, no matter what day it is, no matter what the occasion is, no matter what month it is. Its bold flavor, bright explosion of color, iconic orange slice ritual, and authentic ballpark roots will make your holidays unique and flavorful. Coley, you going to be celebrating the holidays with some Blue Moon?
Is there any other way to celebrate holidays?
I don't think there is.
No.
Do you guys have Christmas plans yet? What do you guys do for Christmas up there?
We celebrate it.
Up in Maine?
Yeah.
We get
it.
Yeah.
We get Christmas up here.
Do they sell Blue Moon up in Maine?
Oh, yeah. By the truck.
Oh, yeah. I love that. I'm happy that they do that, because if not, I was going to bring some up to you. From its refreshing flavor with Valencia orange peel for a subtle sweetness and hints of coriander, Blue Moon Belgian-style wheat ale is a one-of-a-kind beer that's made brighter. It's carefully crafted and full-flavored with refreshing notes and a smooth, creamy finish. Why strike out with the same old beer when you can get something that's one of a kind? Best served with a signature orange garnish to showcase its beautiful hazy color. A beer this good only comes around once in a blue moon, but you can enjoy it all season long. Enter for a chance to win an exclusive Blue Moon paper shoot camera to immortalize those unforgettable holiday moments. Make your holidays brighter than ever with Blue Moon. Get Blue Moon delivered and enter to win an exclusive paper shoot camera at get.bluemoonbeer.com/Jared. That is get.bluemoonbeer.com/Jared. Blue Moon, made brighter. Celebrate responsibly. Blue Moon Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado Ale. No purchase necessary. Open to legal residents of 50 USDC. 21 plus only. Begins 11/1/2022 and ends 12/31/2022. Includes 4 entry periods. For rules, visit bluemoonholiday.com. Void where prohibited. Message and data rates may apply. And now, Tyler, I'm assuming that you've had... Yes. Jake, do we still have DMs from last week?
Yeah, I could go back and get some from the files.
Do you think any of them were like outdated by now, or do you think some of them are still fresh?
I think some of them still apply.
Okay. All right, maybe we'll do a little down the DM later. Be nice. Tyler, do you have an answer, or is this still a question that's kind of burning in the back of your brain?
It's tough. So I would say if Xander Bogaerts walked and it was a contract that I was like, okay, like I think I'd be willing to do 7-2-10 because of the Rafael Devers, implications, because of where the clubhouse is, because you're losing. The Red Sox aren't seen as like a place you want to go right now because they have not handled their situations with their stars. Everything's up in the air. There's that narrative that's continuing to build that they don't take care of their own guys. I think that is a real problem. Would I 100% say, all right, it's over for Bloom? No, I'd still put Rafael Devers in that space where, like, if anything happens where he's not here for the next, 8 to 10 years, get the fuck out. It's over. But you'd have to pivot and pay Carlos Correa. And then your argument would be, all right, well, we were worried about Bogart's age. We wanted to go younger. Okay, but then you still have a lot of work to do. I'd be on the highest of red alerts. But I will tell you, seeing them throw that money at Zach Eflin when, he threw 105 innings last year, 70 this year. You got Chris Sale, who has not pitched since, a full season or anything somewhat resembling it since 2019. You have James Paxton, who also has not really pitched since 2019. You have Garrett Whitlock, who's never pitched 100 innings in the big leagues. Converting to the rotation. Stop. Don't give me that look, Jared. I'm making my point. Stop
He's
it.
Never gonna.
Brian Bayo's a fucking rookie.
Can I ask Coley, since you brought it up, Tyler?
Yes, but let me finish.
Okay, go ahead and finish.
Yeah, and then you have on top of it, Eflin has chronic knee problems, like childhood knee problems that have been bothering him since he was a little fucking kid. And you're saying, all right, this is how we're going to stabilize the rotation right now? Fuck off. That's not how you do it. I'm sorry. You could go pay Nate Eovaldi. You have $83 million before the first luxury tax. I'll take the risk that maybe Eovaldi doesn't get his velo and he's like a low end number 3. All right, that's fine. Best case scenario, Zach Eflin's a number 3. Best case. That's if everything goes right. Best case with Nate Eovaldi, he can start fucking game 1 for me, and I know what he does in the postseason. Now talk to
no.
What, Patrick?
Was that a yes or no, Tyler?
Yeah.
High red alert if they let Bogarts walk.
That's not one of the answers.
That is not a yes or a no.
That's a no.
I can tell you my answer is 100%.
You would
I'd
still
lean
be
close.
fucking.
No, I'll say yeah. I'd be out on Heimblum at the moment. Okay.
I guess it's more layered than that, though. Like, has he been told? Because other reports I've seen, I think it was direct from quote from Heim that Stats posted was just like, we need my bosses to talk to Xander. Like, that sounds like he's been kind of given a limit here, like a spending limit. So if that's part of the equation, which I've always, like, they're trying to buy the fucking Commanders right now. Like, are we sure they even know free agency is happening?
Yeah. That's one of the things that I was bringing up on Twitter the other day was someone tweeted me being like, if they don't re-sign Xander, I'm so fucking out on Heimblum. And I was like, once you get to the $200 million threshold, which Xander will be in ultimately, that's an ownership decision. And I know that Heimblum's an easy punching bag, and he's not exempt from blame for the season that the Red Sox just had or whatever you want to blame him for. You can't blame him for Mookie Betts. That wasn't his mess to clean up, but you can blame him for Kyle Schwarber or whatever else. Fine. But when it comes to Xander Bogaerts and you're talking about paying him upwards of $200 million, that becomes an ownership decision. So I'm kind of glad that maybe Heim has kind of reached his breaking point of being the fucking doormat for the Red Sox failures, especially when it comes to a Xander Bogaerts contract or Rafael Devers extension, where it's like, hey, of course I would like these guys on my team. I'm only allowed to spend what I'm allowed to spend. So if I don't get the thumbs up or the green light on paying Xander Bogaerts $217 million over the next 7 years, then guess what? It's not happening. And I'm going to have to wear that. And the owner that hasn't showed face in this fucking city in 4 years is going to get to gallivant around Washington buying his new fucking football team because he just sold Liverpool and we're just moving funds around. Like it's fucking monopoly to them. It's play money, it's play properties. Like that's what it is to these owners that are building portfolios. We're not dealing with a Steve Cohen who grew up a diehard Mets fan who bought the Mets because he wants to see the Mets win a championship. We're talking about John Henry, who granted has won 4 World Series titles since he's been here, but we're talking about a billionaire who wants to become a multi-billionaire by buying up all these franchises and doing what have you with them. So I'm glad Heim said that. Because ultimately, I don't know. Like if you were to sit down Heim Bloom and put a lie detector on him and ask him, do you think moving forward, the best decision to make, money aside, for this Red Sox franchise is to sign Xander Bogaerts to a 7-year deal north of $200 million? Would he say yes? Or would he say, I don't know, I feel like if we allocate a little bit more to a younger shortstop in Carlos Correa, maybe that's probably the better decision. Maybe he feels that way. I don't personally know. But what I am glad that he did say was once you get to that threshold of financial commitment, that's not my fucking call. That's not my call. So, and I totally respect him saying that because, again, we have not seen or heard from John Henry as Red Sox fans in years, literal years.
Catillo asked him for a comment yesterday and he declined once again.
What I hope people understand too is when you sign someone to a $200 million contract, you don't get to just like pay that year to year. The owners have to put up $200 million that day. They put it into escrow. So people the more I'm talking about this, I don't think we are signing Xander or Correa. The more I'm actually thinking out loud, are we going to put $500 million in the bank for 2 players when $500 million can be, what's that, a 4th, a 6th down payment for the fucking Commanders? Yeah, we're not signing either of these guys.
Yeah.
But like,
no chance.
And the other thing I'd add to that, it's like Boris has been saying this in spring training. He goes, I'm not interested in talking to Heim. I talk to owners. Those are the guys I want to have conversations with. And like, that's where it stands with a lot of that stuff. Now, I do think if you gave Heim Blue truth serum, is Xander Bogaerts, would he be the guy he commits that money to? Probably not. I do think he'd lean someone like Carlos Correa. But I don't know. I think the situation, like where the Red Sox are right now and these different variables based on the clubhouse, that could change the equation. But yeah, I think ultimately at the end of the day, it's ownership who has to step in. If they want Xander Bogaerts here, they're Heim's bosses. They tell Heim, go write the fucking check. He's our franchise guy. Look at the narrative. We're 4th in the fucking city. 4th. Like nobody is talking about us. Everything is coming up green for the Bruins and Celtics. Like the Patriots are the Patriots. And then the Red Sox somehow in a year have gone from the talk of the city in October. Everyone was behind him too. Twitter's the most toxic place it has ever been. Sports radio is a disaster Red Sox wise. Like
I'm surprised. I'm just happy that they're talking about him at all. Like the worst would be if sports radio, because I heard that from fucking Felger a couple of years ago. Oh, I can't do Red Sox talk. If I talk baseball for an hour, no one's gonna call in. No one cares. Like that's bullshit. But where you kind of get to a point where it's real bad is when you're not even talking about the Red Sox on sports radio. Because that was the Bruins for the longest time before Sports Hub came along.
Well, yeah, that's because it's hockey. But people are talking about them now because they're an easy target. They get to shit on them. And it's not completely undeserved. But if I could rant about the people crying that Dave Dombrowski's not here anymore for a second. We just watched the Phillies lose 4-2 to the Houston Astros. And because it happened in the World Series, because they don't play in the American League together, people viewed that as a more successful season than last year's Red Sox team, who lost to the Houston Astros 4-2. It was the exact same fucking series to the T.
To a T, yeah. Yeah.
The Phillies should have won that series like the Red Sox should have won that series. The only difference is the Phillies didn't get screwed by a bad call. The Phillies just lost because that's what they do. They first franchise ever to 10,000 losses. People forget that. The reason Mookie Betts is on the LA Dodgers is not because Mookie Betts did not want to be here. It's because Dave Dombrowski started signing fucking outrageous contracts to people fresh off a World Series because he had never won one before and he didn't know how to handle it. And we had to get into luxury tax. We had to learn about international pool money. We had to learn about qualifying offer penalties because he put us in a position where we couldn't keep the best player the Red Sox had ever developed in the history of Boston baseball. That's what happened with Dave Dombrowski. So you fucking morons who still want him here are fucking morons. Stop bringing him up. Stop bringing him up like he did anything here. Jesus Christ. If Heim does get canned for this, and I hope he doesn't, because I do think he's really smart. When we first brought him in, my biggest worry, and you can go back and listen to the tapes, my biggest worry was that he was just brought in here to trade Mookie and then get blamed for it. And I'm still not convinced that isn't what's happening. I'm still not convinced, especially with the fucking Commanders up for sale. Jeff Bezos, buy the Commanders quickly. Quickly. Hurry it up. You, Kevin Durant, whoever else you need, go buy the Commanders so John Henry can look back at this team and be like, oh yeah, people give a fuck about this a lot. Mm-hmm. And we're ruining it real bad. Yeah. As bad as one can. I was really like, we were in the World Series 4 years ago. Won it. Best team in franchise history. And then 2019 happened. 2020, I don't care about. 2021 was cool. Sports radio told people not to watch the playoffs. That was fun. And then 2022 happened. I can't be mad that they were over the luxury tax this year. I can't bring myself to do it because so few trades happened baseball-wise. I know Soto got traded. That was a big deal. We were actively shopping JD Martinez. The Mets didn't want to come off any prospects. They didn't even make a trade outside of that.
The Red Sox wanted Mark Vientos.
Yeah, they were the asking price. A guy they didn't bring up for another month and a half.
Still, a guy that you're not trading Cook JD Martinez for.
So would you rather trade for just anybody?
I would rather just trade the salary off the books. Yes. 100%. Yeah.
It's not about the return for me at that point. It was about getting under the.
It has to be because we also weren't completely out of it. Like, yeah, it didn't look great. I agree. It did not look great. But they weren't completely out of it. That's just true.
It was inexplicable. Like, once you got to that point, the trade deadline, it's like, was it mathematically possible? Yeah. Was there a trade that you could have made that would have injected the life and filled the gaps of that team that would have led them to a postseason berth? No. Like,
you had Garrett Whitlock limping around. Like, Garrett Whitlock wasn't going to make it through the end of the year. Tanner Houck, the back was going. Like, he was not around long after that. Obviously, Nate Eovaldi gave out as well. But my issue is, it's inexcusable for me in a year where you go over the luxury tax to go $4 million over the luxury tax. In the sport, and as we've seen in recent years, when you go over the luxury tax, those are championship contender years where you're pushing your chips in to win that damn thing. And that's why I could excuse 2021 at the time, where they're like, you know what? We don't feel like this team is all the way there yet. We really haven't hit our go. We'll trade for Kyle Schwarber, but we're going to stay under it. And it worked out great. Going into 2022, like you said earlier, Coley, the last offseason was the offseason to spend. Yeah. And what happened to you? You got caught in between on Trevor Story. You barely went over the luxury tax. You started spring training. Chris Sale went down. You knew you weren't going to have him. You did nothing to replace him. And we knew in spring training they were short an arm in a bullpen. We already knew that was a problem. And they did nothing to address it. And that ultimately led to the Tanner Houck and the Garrett Whitlock situation completely imploding on you, where the original plan was Houck and Whitlock to be in that bullpen. And I think things would have been a lot different in that first month of the season. And that would have changed probably the course of the entire year in a lot of ways. For sure.
But that's where I blame ownership too, league wide. Chris Sale got hurt in an unsanctioned throwing section. Like that's where he got hurt. He didn't get hurt in spring training. He got hurt at Florida Gulf Coast. That's where he got hurt.
Yeah, I just don't know how I'm the Red Sox and I don't have any late inning options, and I could have paid Brad Boxberger $3 million to come in here and pitch the 7th inning or the 8th inning just to give me another arm. You're $4 million over the luxury tax. You could have done something. Even, in June when this team needed help at first base, you had Franchi Cordero, who, listen, I had love for Franchi. Like, I gave him his credit when he was hitting. He's making multiple errors a game, like throwing the ball away when the play's dead. He doesn't even have just run the fucking ball in, Franchi. Please, just run it in. And you saw a team like the Mariners say, hey, we're going to go get Carlos Santana just to keep our head above the water. There was never that kind of urgency, even going back to earlier in the year. And that's what bothered me. Don't go over the luxury tax if you're not pushing in to win a championship that year and you had a chance to fix that mistake and you chose not to. And now you're paying for it because you don't want to talk to these guys who have a QO attached to them.
They did, but I think like there were 7 or 8 total trades league wide. There wasn't as much movement as people expected. And we know they were actively shopping guys. I can't settle for let's just get this guy we know stinks. Like there's no point in doing that. Like, of course they could be wrong. The guy they think stinks could be good, but it's also still Boston. Like when you're like, they were already upset when they traded Vasquez. How detached would everyone have been if they also traded JD and another guy? Because you can't sell luxury tax in the middle of the season, just like you can't sell it as an excuse right now.
But if I look at it and you're letting that determine, something that's going to compromise you for the next couple of years moving forward, you got to take that emotion. You failed. You failed your job earlier in the year and you have to pay for it at some point. I'd rather you have paid for it for those final 2 months where we already knew we watched shit baseball. You knew you probably weren't going to be in there. I would have rather take 2 months of that instead of being in a position this year where you're probably not going to pour all the way into this year where you probably could have if they also had a full chance at the World Series.
They also didn't panic for a first baseman because they didn't know Casas was going to get hurt. Like at
that time he was already hurt.
It was a curse season on a lot of fronts. So it's like hindsight's going to always make it look a lot worse, and living through it sucked enough. But like there were multiple things that happened. It felt like every week. The 1 week Trevor Story was good. Like if that had been stretched out over the whole season, for example, who knows what that team looks like as opposed to that 10 days.
Yeah. If he had even been 50% of Trevor's Story for a majority of the year, it probably looks a lot different. I agree with you on that.
Way better.
It's just the roster. There's no excuse going into a luxury tax year where your roster should be that unfinished. And I agree with the Tristan Casas thing. Like, I know they wanted to take things slow, but that high ankle sprain, we're talking basically it took until September. He would have easily been up probably late May, June, maybe July. Yeah. But the guy you go to, take care of, Bobby Delbick's spot is Travis Shaw, who was fucking retired, who was sitting on his ass and done. And I give Travis Shaw credit. He did stuff down the stretch for them last year. But for that to be your panic move,
huge fucking homer for them in Houston. What was that, game 6 or 7?
Yeah, listen, that walk-off...
They didn't even make this 7. Game 6?
No, sure.
Yeah, the walk-off Grand Slam was one of the key moments down the stretch for the Red Sox in 2021 when they were trying to keep their head above water. Yeah. But like that's the stuff where it was just they were panicked and they got caught in between. Travis Shaw being that solution. I like Tristan Casas. There's an injury history there. You need to give me a little bit more, just to depend on when you have a guy in Bobby Delbick who, let's be real, he hit for 1 month. He hit in August. That's all it really was. Didn't really even hit that much in September. It was an incredible August, but you were putting a lot of chips in stuff that there were clear flaws. And I still think I was on this train. I talked about it on the podcast. I thought you should have traded Bobby Delbick last offseason because I think there was plenty to look into that data and see that it was not sustainable. He was a platoon bat.
Who did he drop that pop fly against? And I just immediately wanted him gone that day in 21 good. He dropped a pop fly and I said, have fun on the Rockies.
He's the definition of that though. Like he's like poor man's Mark Reynolds. Like go play in, some low tier market. And Mark Reynolds had some really good years in Arizona. I don't want to disrespect him that much. But lesser tier. But that was my issue. There was just too much unfinished business on this roster. Injury sunk you ultimately, but that roster should have been in a better place going into 2022.
Yeah, I completely agree on that. I thought they should have been way more aggressive last offseason because this is the other part that kills me. They don't hide who's going to be a free agent next year. Like that, it's known. Like you could have sat there and been like, oh yeah, that fucking stinks. I don't want to spend money that offseason because you can really only overpay this offseason. I said it when we got Hosmer. I still think there's a decent chance we look at Hosmer, Casas, and Dahlbeck as the DH first base platoon. Those three. Like, I don't think that's out of the realm of possibilities. And
well, you can't say that now when Jose Abreu is supposedly their top priority. Obviously, they don't want to go into next season with that trio being the end all be all.
Who knows? They might have had Jose Abreu playing center for all we know. We don't know what they've got. We talk about flexibility all the time. I don't know how you possibly, because I believe MLB Trade Rumors had Abreu and Josh Bell pegged for around the same deal, and Josh Bell's a decade younger and better at this stage of his career. I don't know why Abreu would ever be the target over Josh Bell unless it's known Josh Bell does not want a DH, which I cannot imagine to be the case.
He doesn't have to like full-time DH though. He can still play some first base and DH.
Which I think the Red Sox would prefer. That way they don't have to worry if Casas goes down. They have a backup plan there. You don't have to relive Bobby Delbeck. And the one thing about Josh Bell, and I agree, I think the Red Sox should be in on him. I was reading some of the batted ball profile stuff. Apparently pull side, it's a lot of ground balls. From the left side, it's that right center area. Is it the best batted ball profile for Fenway? Not ideally still. I would bet on him. But we see the Red Sox look like they want right-handed power. Now serious suitors for Mitch Haniger.
Mitch.
Hold that thought. Because Coley, our next partner has a product that I use literally every day. I started taking AG1 back in June-ish. It was before the All-Star. It was before we went to LA. So that was probably like mid-June. Mid-June, started taking AG1. So I wanted better gut health and more energy. And I've been on it for a few months now. Feel great. And people are like, what is it? With one delicious scoop of AG1, you are absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. Plus, this is ad lib here. Plus, you should be drinking water to start your day anyway. This is just a little scoop in some water. It's the perfect little trick to get that H2O in your system right when you wake up. We're doing a bunch of podcasts a week. We're traveling, doing videos. Just bought a house. I got to make a room for Coley. Usually protocol. This is the 5th time that I've moved in the last 5 years. So it's standard protocol to be like, Coley, what kind of couch do you want? But this time you'll be able to get a bed. I'll have a guest room.
That's right. So it looks like you'll have multiple guest rooms.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of them I've turned into studios and gyms.
Just put bench presses and 7 rooms.
Yeah. There's just like a Stairmaster in my living room.
You'd never use that.
I would. It's because I have all this energy from using AG1. Because it gives me the energy that I need to do all these things. It's got all my vitamins, minerals that I need in one easy scoop serving. Pat, you a Stairmaster guy? What do you do for cardio besides running around with all your restaurant businesses that you own?
I absolutely hate cardio.
Okay.
So I'm more of a sprint guy.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're a professional athlete. At some point, you were doing some pretty intense cardio, I would imagine.
When I was playing professional sports, yes, I was. Not in my restaurant owning career, but I do keep in shape.
You look great.
Thank you. I appreciate it. You look fantastic as well.
Thank you. I appreciate that a lot. It's got all my vitamins and minerals that I need in one easy scoop serving. Now that I'm on the road, decent amount. It's got the to-go 2-packs, which is unbelievable for the early wake-up calls. Costs you less than $3 a day. You're investing in your health, and it's cheaper than your cold brew habit. Supports better sleep quality and recovery, which we can all use a little bit of that, especially Coley. He's got kids. Some of them can speak, some of them can't. Sleep quality, very important in Coley's life. And right now,
great.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just 1 scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. And to make it easy, Athletic Greens is giving you a free, that's right, free 1-year supply of immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/Red Sox. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/Red Sox to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. And when I tell you the rest of this podcast is ad-free, I mean the rest of this podcast is ad-free. And we've now arrived at the segment that you've all been waiting for. It is the Red Sox having interest in Mitch Haniger segment of the podcast. You've been waiting for it. You've been clamoring for it ever since... was it JP Morosi had that report?
Correct.
Ever since John Paul Morosi tweeted out earlier today, and I quote, I didn't have it ready. I should have been ready, but I wasn't. I'm going to pull it up right now, though. It was, I tweeted a lot today. Sources. The Red Sox and Rangers are among the most serious suitors. I like that more than the interest kings. The Red Sox are serious suitors for free agent outfielder Mitch Haniger, formerly, or could, I don't know if the Mariners are going to go back after him, but of the Seattle Mariners, Mitch Haniger. And I don't know if you sign a guy like Mitchie, that's not going to be a full-time DH guy. I don't know that besides Josh Bell, and I wouldn't even consider him to be one of those guys. I don't know that there are many just JD Martinez's lying around where it's like, you, sir. Because, I mean, it's all David Ortiz's fault. That fucking guy comes in and he's just the best DH of all time. And now Red Sox fans are like, well, now we just need a dude that's only going to hit. Like, this guy cannot play defense whatsoever. Julio attempted to break the rule, go out there and play defense. Motherfucker trips on second base, almost killed himself. So he should have just stayed designated hitter like an idiot. But,
what a klutz.
Yeah.
Stepped right on the fucking bag like an asshole.
So I think that there's probably a really, really, really strong chance that whoever is spending a majority of their plate appearances at DH for the Boston Red Sox next year, they're probably going to play a little defense too. Because you want Rafi DH in, you want to get Kike back in the infield a little bit, you want to get Christian Arroyo in the mix. Like there's going to be options. So we'll see.
And we look at the end of last year, Cora was kind of pissed. Overall, I don't think specifically at JD, injuries are injuries, whatever. We know his back is the way it is. But he had talked in spring training. He wanted JD out on the field. Like having that versatility in that DH spot meant something to him. So you could rotate those guys, and they never had that option all year. I go back to how they used JD in 2018 when he first got here. He played like 55, 57 games or something in left field that year. I think Haniger would probably maybe play even a little bit more than that. But I think that's what they want so they can go down that route. And, if you're upset about Jose Abreu, it's really bothering you. MLB Trade Rumors had Haniger as their number 20 free agent. Abreu was 19.
Oh.
Now, so it's right there. And if you go back to 2017, obviously Abreu has been healthier. But I think Haniger has a 126 OPS plus over that stretch. Abreu is at 130. And I'll take out that 2020 season. 60 games. Congrats. You won an MVP and you had a 160 OPS plus. Okay, sure. I think it's closer than a lot of people want to realize, but you got to hope Haniger doesn't lose his other nut. Like that's part of the equation here. You got to keep him healthy. I think mixing him between that DH and outfield spot's really the only way to do it.
Calling it closer just because Jose Abreu won a 2020 MVP and not a real one is very insulting. No. Jose Abreu was much better at baseball than Mitch Haniger ever.
Since 2017, Mitch Haniger has an 817 OPS, which is 52nd best in MLB, minimum 2,000 plate appearances.
Jay Stu!
If adjusted for park effects, he moves up to the 34th best in MLB at 126, just ahead of Xander Bogaerts and Rafael Devers. Bottom line is that on offense, he's an adequate replacement for either of those guys. I'm not saying he's better or even as good, but the point is he's not really a drop-off on offense. As a pull hitter to left field in his career, Haniger has batted .429 and slugged .891 with 60 doubles and 56 home runs and 503 at-bats. His hard hit percentage is 44.5%, which is well above MLB average of 38.7% and was over 47% in 2022. He's an above average right fielder on defense. That's from James Stewart of 98.5 The Sports Hub.
And Coley, I'm not discrediting Jose Abreu's MVP. He actually, I don't know if he really should have won it, but he had a 164 OPS plus that year. That was way out of range than any other year. So that pulled up his stats over that stretch.
For sure. I mean, Jose Abreu, I think we can all agree, he's had a really good career. If he was 32, we'd actually be upset that we didn't get him. His age is why we're not as upset.
The fact that we missed out on him the first time is why we had to have Rusney.
Agreed. Mitch Haniger's turn. He's entering his age 32 season. Baseball Reference has him projected to hit 246 with 309 on base, 444 slug, and 18 home runs. That's not including Fenway. That's just if he plays baseball next year.
That's insulting.
14 doubles. He's not that great.
He hit 11 homers in 57 games.
Did anyone mention the comparison to Hunter Renfroe and how comparable they are? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Stats tweeted it out.
Yeah, Stats had the side-by-side comp. I mean, it's not that Hunter Renfroe is like infinitely better. It's very, very, very close, and it's a smidge to Renfroe, who you traded for Jackie Bradley Jr. What's the deal with Hunter Renfroe, by the way?
David Hamilton.
Yeah. Why is Hunter Renfroe on his 7th team in 3 years?
Well, all right. Can I be real? As part of the Ibluminati, some of the coping is interesting. Like some people will go to whatever length to shit all over Hunter Renfroe. The reality is he's with the Brewers. They're not going to pay his 3rd-year arbitration. A small market team like that just isn't going to do it. So yeah, they took him in for a year. They dumped off Alex Binelas and David Hamilton, 2 guys who, obviously look at the prospect rankings here. Bad years, did not become what they were supposed to be stock-wise. Now he goes to the Angels, a team that's, desperate and willing to pay that. And before that, when he got here, obviously his career was where it was. He had kind of leveled out, had an awful year in 2020 with the Rays, but he got traded from here because the Red Sox thought they were going to capitalize on the prospect capital. They didn't. That's what it was.
I don't know that's the whole story.
Well, I think there's also some of the clubhouse stuff, but at the same time, I would say like Nate Eovaldi, when he spoke out in September, when Plawecki and everything happened, Hunter Renfroe and Kyle Schwarber were the 2 names out of his mouth as guys the clubhouse was missing this past year. Now, I agree with you. The packing up stuff, that is part of it. I agree. But acting like Hunter Renfroe is like garbage, no. Just guys who don't have super high OBPs and that are in those ARB spots like that, they're more fungible than a lot of guys.
What the fuck word did you just use?
Fungible. That's a word, right?
What is that? Fungible?
Fungible. Pat, you know that word, right?
Very familiar with the fungible.
Explain that word to, obviously not me, but the people that have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh no, I don't know how to spell it because
I want it from Pat. Oh,
okay, thank you.
Yeah, this is Pat.
This is a me thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, listen, guys, fungible, of course.
Stop typing.
If I'm not mistaken, isn't it another word? Isn't it a synonym for tangible?
Yes.
Yeah.
I know. Why the fuck didn't you use? I know the word tangible, Tyler. Who are you trying to impress right now?
Listen, I've been doing my work. I'm trying to mix in some different lingo, some cooler words.
Fungible.
Fungible kind of just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it?
No, dude. No, it sounds like some sort of sexually transmitted disease. Like, oh, there's fungible all over my balls. What the fuck? Oh, man. I went home from Green Rock with this girl, and now there's fungible all over my dick.
Okay.
I've been working hard to expand my vocabulary and my ways of communication after getting feedback, so new vocab words. I'm not asking myself questions anymore. Shut up. Don't bring that up. I'm trying to improve on these issues.
He gets frustrated sometimes, and I understand. Like he wants. This is his first year. His first season is complete, but it's still his first year on the podcast, and he gets frustrated when listeners get on him. And I think he's doing an amazing job, and so much so that the listeners of this podcast have requested that Tyler have his own segment. Are you prepared for that today?
I am prepared.
You are prepared for it.
Listen, we communicated on this, and I take my teacher responsibilities very seriously.
Honestly, I'm just used to like telling Pat that he has to do Pat's picks, and then he just doesn't do it. So like it's very refreshing when I'm like, hey, do you want to do this segment? And then someone says, yeah. And then they actually prepare for it and show up ready to go on the next episode.
Hold on there, cowboy. You gave
Coley,
me a fucking...
Coley.
One thing I will say, pro Mitch Haniger. He seems to be an every other year guy, and it's lining up to be his year. Like 2018, he was an all-star. 2019, garbage. Didn't play 2020. That's weird. 2021, he had 39 dingers. Last year, didn't play much at all. So it's lining up for him to be a year, but I wouldn't give him more than a year, and I'm still not that interested.
All right.
Now, Coley, 3 years, 45. Are you puking in your mouth?
I'm not any more excited as I'd rather play Rafaela. And I know he's not ready, but I'd rather play Rafaela for free than give away $45 million to a guy who I know I'm going to be like, this is Jason Bay.
That's the only
Jason
number, by
Bay
the
was
way.
fucking good.
He was really
Mets
good.
Jason Bay, different story. Or
Cool.
Mariners Jason Bay. Jason Bay was outstanding for the Red
in a
Sox.
home run derby.
For the Pirates.
That still happened. I'll never get that image out of my head.
That's a bad
He saw
take,
Choi
Coley.
out-homered him in that.
That's a
home
bad
run.
take,
All-time
Coley.
bad take.
Jason Bay.
No.
Jason Bay, when everyone was like, oh my God, look at what Manny's doing for the Dodgers. Jason Bay was doing that for the Red Sox. He did the same fucking thing. And in the playoffs, too. I will not allow Jason Bay slander on this particular program.
Jason Bay was no Manny Ramirez.
I mean, in the playoffs, look at the numbers. Look at the numbers in the 2008
So why
postseason.
side Xander then? Wasn't he bad in the 18 postseason?
I'm just saying
Okay,
that
right.
Jason
So it
Bay
doesn't matter.
performed well, so he deserves credit. I'm not going to slander Xander Bogaerts
so
for.
well. We gave him a contract.
Can I read some stats from a random player, not Jason Bay, and you tell me if that's a good player or not?
Okay,
What, Coley? No.
this is going to be Adam Duvall. Is
No,
this Adam
nope.
Duvall?
No, it's not.
Okay.
267, 384, 537, 921 OPS, finished 7th in MVP voting, Silver Slugger All-Star, hit 36 jacks. Is that
What
a good
year?
baseball player? 2009.
That's literally Jason Bay.
No, it's not. I'm asking the question. Is that a good baseball
what year was
player?
it?
Is that Tom
Two-
Frazier?
Actually, I'm removing the year from it. It's not important anymore. I don't know why I said it. To begin
It's
with.
not important anymore.
Yeah, that's solid.
Okay. Respect Jason Bay.
Yeah, was it Jason Bay?
It was
Of
Jason
course
Bay.
it was.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
knew
what
it
I
was
thought.
Jason Bay.
Jared, why did you think it was Adam Duvall? There was nothing in that conversation that would have led down that
Because
It
road.
was like
I-
1994. Jared's like, it's Duvall. I can tell.
Duvall. Classic Duvall season. Yeah, Jason Bay was great. Tyler,
Great.
read the 2008 playoff numbers for Jason Bay.
Give me 1 second.
No, I want them now. I said.
Okay. All right. We're good to go. So 2008, if you want to pressure me. 2008, Jason Bay, 11 games in the postseason, 342, 471, 634, 1,105 OPS, 3 jacks, 9 ribbies.
Now, read Julio Lugo's 07 World Series numbers because everyone agrees he stinks, right?
Well, thank God
no,
I
I
had that
fucking
also
love
up.
Julio Lugo. RFP. No, I love Lugo. Minus
I don't know if
the
that's how people remember it.
All right.
I mean-
did the whole playoffs, Coley, or do you want just the World
No,
Series?
World Series. I know he wasn't great the whole playoffs.
Okay. 4 games, 385, 500, 462 slugging, 962 OPS in those 4 games.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Jared's take
Now-
that was. Should he be
Now-
World Series MVP, Jared, after your
No.
horrendous Mike Lowell take last week?
No, that was the correct take. Jacoby Ellsbury should have been the World Series MVP in 2007. I stand by that.
For sure not. Absolutely not.
You're both wrong. I don't give a fuck.
As we're talking about just numbers, we should all be in agreement. Correa is the play over Xander then, because obviously you think Jason Bay is better than Manny Ramirez. You just said
Wow.
Jason Bay is better than Manny Ramirez. You said that on your own show.
I didn't say that. I said he had a better 2000. No, he didn't even have a better playoff. Manny's numbers in the playoffs were still better. I'm just saying that Jason Bay
'Cause
went
Manny's
off
better at baseball.
similarly.
Better at baseball.
Manny was also doing some things.
Playing baseball.
He was. I think he had the Win Reality virtual headset like 10 years before anyone else did.
The prototype?
Do you think Haniger could legitimately play right field at Fenway? I genuinely don't know. I'm asking.
No.
No, I think you'd have to spot him in left field to some degree, and then you're forcing Verdugo back out into
Well,
right.
didn't
which
Jay
is
Stu
pushing-
just fucking say that he's like an above
Right,
average
that's why
defender?
I'm asking.
Yeah.
But it's Fenway. It's not fucking Seattle.
He's an
Yeah.
above average right fielder on defense, according to James Stewart. 95
You would be-
Sports Hub.
You would be pushing it. You could maybe get by, but you'd definitely be pushing it. And for a Red Sox team that leaned on Jackie Bradley Jr. because they thought defense out there was so important, you're pushing it. But he would get outfield reps. That is for sure.
I need Ken Rosenthal to stop being so goddamn lazy because he tweets these fucking articles and he captions it what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
I need a headline that lets me know that it's different from the last time that you tweeted what I'm hearing. Like, is this new information that's in here? I don't know.
Probably is. I'm shocked that we don't have a bigger Brandon Nemo market. Now I know Tyler's going to tell me about some injury he had in the third grade. Nemo and Nemo, I don't care. But I'm shocked. Like, if he's going to be half the price of Aaron Judge, and obviously not as good, but like,
don't worry, guys. I'll bite the bullet on the fucking athletic paywall here.
I just went in. There's nothing Red Sox in there.
Command F Bogarts. Not even a Bogart. All right, I don't care then. All right, moving on.
Megaphone Balls said he was going to get like the Shinshu Chu contract. And if that's the case, like, get signed Brandon Nimmo tomorrow. Like, what are we waiting for?
When did you become a Brandon Nimmo guy?
When I looked at this free agency class. He's one of like 4 good players.
So you want to spend money just to spend money then? Because like now...
No, I don't. It's like when you look forward, when you look where they're at right now, they have holes. They have holes that like the minor league system's not going to address unless you firmly believe in Raffaello, which I believe in him. Do I firmly believe in him? Not sure.
Last week, Tyler said he wanted to trade the motherfucker.
I still want to trade Raphael
for the right player. I don't like if you look at the top 5 in the organization right now, he's the one I'd be least upset about trading. And right now, his value may be peaking.
Oh, it's definitely peaking.
Yeah. All I say is the Mookie Betts comps, Coley, I know you love Rafael. I know you've never put him in that space. The fact that people do is crazy. I think his ceiling's like Kike Hernandez. I think better fielder, but I think the bat's going to be kind of in that same up and down area because he chases. He hasn't figured out that plate approach. Maybe he does and that changes everything, but I can't trade Miguel Bleis. I'd rather die.
No, can't do it.
No, Marcel Meyer, we know you're not trading him. And obviously Tristan Casas, you're not touching that. 4 through 6, Rafaela, York, Mata. Let's talk. I'll talk with anybody and have the conversation. I would prefer not to move all 3 of them, but some combination of those guys plus something else, I'd be into.
Are you saying you'll move York because he had a down year and they drafted Mikey Romero, or are they completely unrelated?
I like York. I think the hit tool's real, and I think what he did in the AFL should clear up a lot of those things. He 950 OPS or whatever it was down there. I just think you have that up the middle depth. And I do like Mikey Romero a little bit more. I think the hit tool's special, and I think there's a better chance he sticks it short. I think ultimately he'll land at second probably, but Nick York, you're pushing it at second base already. And with the new shift rules and athleticism being important, I think that puts York in even more of a tougher spot.
Interesting.
But I'd be curious to see what teams value him at because it's one tool. It's really hit and, solid power, but that power really wasn't there this year.
Pat, when you were a Red Sox prospect, how much did you pay attention to your prospect ranking?
0%.
Never.
To be fair, no. To be fair, I wasn't never really that high to really have a worry to be
in the Red Sox organization. That can't be true.
We looked it up. Did he peak at 11?
I think I was top 10 early on, or maybe when I was in Double A because that was my best part of my career was that Double A, Triple A spot. But
you're welcome.
Thanks, Tyler.
Tyler believed in you.
Yeah, I paid 0. It meant nothing to me.
Because I was going to have a follow up. Like, if you did pay attention to prospect rankings, like which one did you look at? But I couldn't even see you. Like, you were a baseball player, but you do not come off whatsoever as like a baseball nerd or someone that would be like, yeah, well, I looked at Baseball America because that was a more accurate one. Like, I feel like you probably. I believe you when you say that you genuinely didn't ever care.
No.
I looked in college. You start talking about like the draft rankings. Obviously, I looked at that.
Sure.
When you first got to Lowell, there were some guys talking about Sox prospects rankings. That was the thing. I remember that coming up a little bit because people wanted to see you just got into the system, want to see where you thought you fit in the system. But I can't recall ever even typing in Sox prospects or any ranking system post probably my first 2 weeks in pro ball.
So Pat, your peak, you actually peaked at 14 twice in July 2016 and July 2015. That was
July 2016. Oh, I guess you have to have a certain amount of time in the big leagues before they take you off the list, right? Not just get called up. Okay.
Yeah.
14, both of those times. That's as good as it got.
By who?
Sox prospects.
Those guys work their fucking balls off.
Go best.
I love that their website never changed. Like it is a stuck in 1999 and it's beautiful. I will be genuinely upset if I go to soxprospects.com and they've changed the layout of that website. Like it is
furious.
Yeah. Like I only know it as that because I would like to believe it's only ever been that. Like I know that like Sox prospects, I want to say that I was like checking Sox prospects in 2008 or 9, maybe. I remember looking at it on the first iPad that I ever got. And I was like, I wonder if they have an app. 9. Hell no. Hell no. There is no Sox prospects.
Barely have a functioning website, let alone an app.
Yeah.
I was such a nerd in high school. I remember as a freshman, I would get like an IRC pass, we called it. So you could go to the library during lunch. And I would go on there so I could see Henry Owens, Brian Johnson, and like Anthony Renato's starts. Because I was dreaming. Pat, grow up. Seriously, grow up. I was trying to see what they did the night before. That's how excited I was.
Renato is still going to be an ace if someone just gives him the opportunity.
Yeah,
100%.
Sure.
LSU. I remember like he almost didn't get drafted at all, or there was some sort of fuckery in the draft with him. Like he wasn't going to sign. Yeah, that was like a whole thing. And then the Red Sox got him and I was like, fuck yeah, let's go. This dude's going to be a boss. Didn't you say you knew him? You ran into him a little bit, Pat? Renato?
Oh, I know him quite well. Well, I haven't spoken to him in a little bit, but yeah, I knew he was a Jersey guy. So I knew him in high school and then I knew him in pro ball.
Did you know early on that he was going to be like a big thing, even though he wasn't?
No, I never. I knew he was. Yeah, the first thought I had of him was when he played basketball for the high school here, and he was going up against the guy that we had in our school that ended up playing at Florida when Florida was going on the national championship run. So our guy won, but Danny Warner. It wasn't. He got there. Didn't do so well for Billy Donovan. Ended up being part of the second national champ when they went back to back. He was part of the second one. But anyway, no, I didn't really know much about Anthony as a baseball player. Besides, he was talked about as being to compete with Bryce Harper for like the number one spot that one year. He never was going to do it because it was Bryce Harper, but he was so fucking good at LSU. But nothing ever really clicked for him in pro ball. It seemed like.
That is weird. I remember like when he got called up, it was met with very little fanfare. Like by the time he got to the big leagues, it wasn't a big deal.
No, right. I mean, he was just like he's one of those guys you classify almost as like a too smooth delivery. Like it was just like, it seemed like people were really able to see the ball out of his hand. And the college game is so different than the actual pro game. Like you don't, like even at LSU, you're not facing the best players in the country. Like you're facing, the guys that are great in the near area around Arkansas. They're not, no baseball doesn't have the funding to go get players from all over the country besides maybe one or two guys on their team. So, when you get to the higher levels, I mean, I remember facing lineups in like Greenville that was like all SEC lineups. And I was like, this team is trash.
I think it's very funny. You're saying like LSU can't get guys outside of the area.
I didn't say that. I said
pitcher.
I said for one or two guys, if you listen to the whole statement, Coley. But yeah, that's just, you just don't do it. I mean, look, I bet you if you look at that LSU lineup that year, I'm sure Anthony was like one of very few guys.
Not wrong.
I know I'm not wrong, but it's just how college baseball is. Just you're not playing the best players in the country, you're playing some of them.
Well, how many prospects that get drafted are high school guys too? Like most guys just don't even go to college.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you're when you're seeing like Anthony, who was a great pitcher, pitch against the College World Series and absolutely dominate. When I'm the message I'm conveying to the fans is he is not playing the best players in the country. He's playing a couple good guys, but like you don't see like Ole Miss go to the College World Series and like 1 through 9 are all in the big leagues 3 years later.
Right.
You see like one guy on the team that may be turned into a utility player. Like it's just not what you think you're watching at the college level. It's different in baseball. Whereas Alabama football, you see the entire team become all pro guys. Like it's a different sport for baseball.
Oh, no, I'm watching Mac Jones right now. That's not true.
Scouting seems very difficult.
I disagree.
If you just obviously there's years of experience that come with it. I watch a lot of baseball, a lot. But if I go, I think it's just kind of all relative. Like if you go and you watch an Anthony Renato for LSU just carve up a lineup, you're like, this guy's fucking nasty. And ultimately he was a first round draft pick. So like professional scouts thought the same thing. But then you see him against big league talent, you're like, this guy not that good. So I don't know. It's just, I don't know. I think it's more of a tip of the cap to the best of the best scouts that are able to identify talent in a scrap heap, so to speak, because I don't know. I mean, like I said, I can watch a fuck ton of baseball and then go watch like a college baseball game and be like, yeah, I mean, like that guy looks really fucking good. But how does that translate? Like you could be 6'4", 215 and be nasty in college. And it's like, how the fuck do we know if this guy's going to be good against professional pitching? We don't know.
I don't even know if it's fair to frame it like that. Anthony Renato and players like him are better at baseball than 99.9% of people who have ever played baseball. That 0.1%, it's probably even less than that, just happens to be the 25-man roster of 30 teams in a given year. So it's like getting to that level is that's why like all the shit we give Pat, I still give him all the credit in the world for climbing that mountain. You didn't stay very long, but it's hard to stay very fucking long. Like I was trying to, like, my brother-in-law is Brazilian, so I was trying to explain to him the difference of like he like we were watching the Brazil game in the World Cup. Jared, the World Cup's when all the countries from the world play soccer. Mm-hmm. And he was explaining how like guys from his neighborhood were like on the fields, like how they got like more or less kidnapped, brought to like Chelsea or Liverpool or Manchester United, like they're like at 7 because they were that good at 7. And he was like, "Is that how it works with baseball?" And I was like, "Let me try and explain how it works with baseball." So we treat the Dominican like how the soccer world treats Brazil. But outside of that, there's a lot of Americans too. And I was trying to explain the steps on how, like, not even how to just get to the major leagues, but how to become rich in the major leagues. And it's so many steps that I think the average fan even looks like. You have to be dominant in high school, first and foremost. Then you have to either go right into the draft or go to college, where we just said already very hard to discern yourself from the rest of the league. Then you have to get through Florida ball. Then you have to get through low A, then through high A, then double A. And then some guys jump right from double A. Most don't anymore. Then you got to go to triple A. And you still have to be progressing. It's not like you can just be the same guy this whole fucking time. You have to be getting better. And then you get to the majors. And then they own you for 7 years. If you even last those 7 years before you can actually negotiate a contract. And by then you're fucking 30. He was just like, that seems brutal. Like, it does not seem, why does anyone do that?
Yeah. Do you wish you were when you are good 30, at a different sport?
You're Xander Bogaerts, and we debate whether or not you're worth $200 million or $180 million.
Yeah, but then even then, so I had this whole take maybe 2 episodes ago where I was saying it's all relative when we're talking about, you came up with the Red Sox and you already made $100 million and like now you're trying to like get all this money and like you're just like a simp for these millionaires. And I was like, bro, these are billionaires, owners that are profiting off the players playing. I want Xander to make as much money. And I got flack for that take being like, you're just fucking simping for these millionaires and blah, 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 blah. Like, what about the common man fan out there that has to pay $200 to go to a game and now the ticket prices are good? Like, that's not it. That's not what we're talking about here. It's not about Xander making more money means you have to pay more to go to the game. Like, these owners are making that money anyway, whether the ticket prices go up or not. These owners are making money off TV deals, advertising deals. There's a fucking Mass Mutual patch on the Red Sox jersey next year. Like, don't complain to me because your ticket price went from $45 to $47.50, and now I'm getting screwed and my family can't go to the game. Like, that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about these owners that are making a fuck ton of money off the players playing the game and being elite at the game, and then having the players get their fair share of the pie. That's what it is. So I was happy Xander's going to get every last dime of what he's worth, and I got shit for that.
And the luxury tax is legitimate wage suppression. Like, the whole reason we're sitting here talking about qualifying offers and not being able to pay guys because of this imaginary line is literal wage suppression. They're saying, look, we can't, the NFL does it, the NBA does it, everyone does it, except what it looks like international soccer when Ronaldo's getting $200 million a year. Outside of that, this is Americana wage suppression. We should not care what Xander Bogaerts make. There's a reason we don't really know what any managers make, because there's no cap. There's no salary cap on it. You could pay a manager and all their assistant coaches $100 million. We'd never know. We have no idea really what Bill Belichick's made as a coach of the New England Patriots. No fucking clue. We have a general idea because he has many boats that he paints, but we don't really actually know what Bill Belichick makes. But we know every Patriots player's salary. We know every Red Sox player's salary. It's wage suppression. So get every dollar you can, Xander. If it happens with another club, I'll miss you.
A lot. And then on top of it, you have guys like Bob Nutting who fucking roll out $50 million payrolls in Pittsburgh, and they're friggin' billionaires. Right. Like, these guys, like you said, the luxury tax, it's just because they don't want to have to spend more money. They want to create the illusion that it's like international soccer where, hey, we're not like those other leagues. We could throw out whatever money. We have these mega deals. No, the hell you don't. You're just putting out an illusion there, and you're trying to cap everybody and make it a 2-year cycle where, you have to get back under the luxury tax and repeat so you can save your dollars one way or the other.
He's worth $1.1 billion.
The nut?
Yeah. Robbie Nuts. Robbie Nuts.
And the Pirates make money.
Billion.
No matter how incompetent he runs that team, they make money every year. That's what I appreciated about Megaphone Balls last year when he put that guy in a fucking locker. When he was talking about, baseball teams lose money. No, they fucking don't. They would shut down the league if that were happening.
All right. That's too bad that we can't call Balls no more.
Why?
I think because he has like a deal. I don't know if he has a deal with FanDuel or not. I think it might be that he can't do something with a gambling company.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Which is disappointing. I missed the ball. I talked to him today. He texted me, asked me if I was going to San Diego, and I don't believe so.
For the meetings?
How come?
I got to close on my house on the 7th.
That'll happen.
Yeah. I got to save money.
Yeah.
I had to save money for the Coley quarters.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do you want me to float what I think's going to happen at the meetings?
I would love to hear what you think's going to happen at the meetings.
I texted you earlier today. The rest of these fine gentlemen and the audience at home doesn't know. It's been my theory for a while, and I don't even think I came up with it, but for the sake of the argument, I did. GMs really only like trading with GMs they've traded with before. Very rarely do you see teams hop up, and it's like, oh, what the fuck? Like, Danny Ainge
sexual partners.
Yes. Danny Ainge of the San Antonio Spurs, the history of the San Antonio Spurs had never made a deal with the Boston Celtics. Brad Stevens shows up, makes 2 trades with the San Antonio Spurs in the course of his first 12 months. Chaim Bloom last year, we talked about Hunter Renfroe earlier, made a trade with the Milwaukee Brewers, who everywhere I've read says they're selling. Barely missed the playoffs this year, selling good players. I think we're getting one of those good players. I think we're getting either Corbin Burns or Brandon Woodruff. I know who I'd prefer, but I think we're leaving the winter meetings with one of them.
Can I add a layer to the history there as well?
No.
Okay. Thank you. Last year, Mike Grootman came over from the Brewers organization and joined the Red Sox front office as an assistant GM. So there's a connection there. Another
Good call.
obviously Matt Arnold is running things now over there, but maybe that's another way they kind of have a reason to come together here.
They do shit like that. Like when Dave Dombrowski first came to Boston, everyone was like, well, he was just the general manager in Detroit. David Price loved him there. We want David Price. Let's go get Dave Dombrowski. Next thing you know, David Price is in Boston. So I don't know. I mean, I think, and I've said this all along, if the Red Sox are going to be better than they were last year, they're going to have to be creative. And by creative, I mean not finding the bargain bin signings like a Michael Wacha, who is outstanding for you in 2022 and probably won't be here in 2023. It's not about finding the diamond in the rough. It's about what do you got to go out there and make a trade for a guy like Corbin Burns? Because spending all this money, to Coley's point earlier, you're talking about $500 million for Xander Bogaerts and Rafael Devers, and that's just to retain two players that were already on the team when you finished in last place. So now you've spent $500 million just to maintain the level of suck. So to get better and beyond that, that's where the creativity comes into place. And that's where, I think Coley had another interesting theory a couple months back about the Fernando Tatis Jr. trade.
Yeah, and then everyone started talking about it. And I heard no credit from me any fucking where.
And Coley was the one that started that trend. I don't care what anybody fucking says. I never heard a single person bring that up before him.
Every person in the world was like, Tatis is probably on the move. It was like, oh yeah, where'd you hear that from? Me? Yeah, that's not a real source. That doesn't count.
So you hear that from me?
There's no, why isn't Cody Bellinger here already? I know he's extremely flawed. Why isn't he anywhere? Why is he nowhere? Why is he unemployed?
That's a good question. More so I don't think he's coming here, but why isn't he somewhere?
Should.
I don't know where a good fit would be for him.
I don't know if
fucking Rockies or the Rangers. I don't know.
Bare minimum, he can defend. We know that.
Mm-hmm.
I think his swing's not completely broken. I know it may be. It may be. I don't think it is. I feel like if he's your big move, yeah, it's a shitty offseason. Real shitty offseason. I don't think it's a bad move, though. I really don't. I would be more excited if we got him than Haniger. And I know it's another lefty. I know he's injured and all this. He's 6 years younger and he's won an MVP. I'd be interested in Cody Bellinger. It could flop, but there's also no risk really. He's not commanded. If he was commanding a big market, we would have heard about it by now. He currently has no market.
So what scares me about Bellinger is his power and swing. So last year, if he had played at Fenway, he would only hit 9 home runs. So we're talking about a guy who, if he's trying to find his power stroke and get back to it, is Fenway the best spot? Probably not. And I agree with you, Coley. If the Red Sox went and traded for Brian Reynolds and said, hey, we're going to move Verdugo. We're going to say, fuck it. We'll get Reynolds in middle of the order of the bat. We can afford to take a chance like that. Sure. I think where they are right now, they cannot afford that chance because realistically, if you look at Bellinger last year, he was better than JBJ, but it's not that far. It's not that far off.
For sure. And I think his swing does need to be rebuilt. And I know he tried to rebuild it after the MVP year, and then he got hurt on top of that, which is where it's he's shown flashes. He's had some stretches where he's looked like himself. It hasn't been for a full season. It really hasn't been for much longer than a week or two at a time. We talk about what he actually did last year if it had been played at Fenway, but what that doesn't include is does he start actually trying to hit to left field off the wall, which is a thing David Ortiz didn't do until he got to Boston. We've seen plenty of lefties come here and start using that wall to their advantage. Like I said, I don't want him to be our only move. If that's the big ticket move, we got this former MVP. That's a shitty offseason. Defensively, at the minimum, I know he can play center or right here. I know that for a fact. And his offensive peaks have been way higher than JBJ outside of that one time he had a 30-game hit streak. So I'm in on Cody Bellinger. I would have traded for him when you knew the Dodgers were going to get rid of him. Now, obviously, you can get him much cheaper. And there doesn't seem to be much competition. But that's a risk I'm willing to take.
If they did go him, you would have a full, return of the Dodgers outfield here. If you didn't go and get something in left field, it'd be Verdugo, Kike, Bellinger. Like
That's
actual outfield trio.
Why would no.
It doesn't. Personally, for me, that's not the route I'd go. But if it set up another move where you get that guy, I'd have the conversation.
That's what I mean. If he's like your fourth move this offseason, I think it's just like, oh, that's interesting. Like if he's your marquee move, that stinks. That stinks real bad. But if you get him, I don't care if any of this outfield that we saw last year is back. And I like Verdugo fine. Kike, obviously, they gave a contract to in fucking September. Like, he's going to be back. Does he need to start? I don't think that he needs to start. I think if he's your fourth guy and he's your super utility guy and we start using that DH more flexibly, now we're looking like a team that's probably going to contend. We're far way away from there right now. Would you, anyone here, take on Corbin Burns if you had to do another Hosmer deal and take Yelich as well? Yelich might be more broken than Bellinger at this point.
It's a CH. It's Yelich.
Yelich.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, that's a lot of money. I love Yelich. He is he's an amazing human being.
Eats ass.
Loves it.
Listen, better hitter than Alex Verdugo last year. 111 OPS plus.
It's a lot of money, and it's for a long time.
Is it? Is it a lot?
Yes.
He took less.
I know I looked it up recently.
He took less to stay in Milwaukee for what his value was at the time. I'd have to really see lay those numbers out for me, Coley. What does he owe?
156
over what?
Until 2029. So he'll be the one positive. It'll be his age 31 season.
What's his AAV?
26. Last year's a mutual option for 20. So it's 26 until 2028. 26, 26, 26, 26, 26.
Am I crazy to think he'd own the monster?
He would. So when he was here in Boston, that was the first series after the series that he started doing the toe tap. And we were talking about it. And he was just looking out at Fenway being like, I would do damage here. Like he absolutely loves hitting at Fenway. And then he went on to have a monster series against the Red Sox in that series. So part of me is thinking, I mean, yeah, I think, and I don't know, like if let's just say hypothetically that situation did enter the chat, I don't know that you'd have to take on 100% of the deal.
Right. No, that's why I said Hosmer. I don't think you'd have to take on 100% of the deal.
Yeah, I think it would be much more digestible if, how many years did you say it was left?
I think it's 5. It's 23 through 28.
Okay, say the Brewers eat 50 mil of that?
Mm-hmm.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, I think I'll be down on that.
His power numbers are way down, but his numbers people don't care about anymore aren't as bad as I thought they were.
And I think 19 bags last year.
Christian Yelich, the thing about Christian Yelich is he is such a low key like psychopath for competition. He really is. And I think that he would kind of come into his own again in Boston.
Could be a menace at Yankee Stadium too.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know why we're talking about this. This isn't even a rumor, but
listen,
it makes it.
Listen, I don't know if you heard. I start the rumors now. Tatis and Christian Yelich. That's who's coming here.
Corbin Burns and Christian Yelich. Throwing Keston Hira too. Why not? He needs a change of scenery.
If I'm the Red Sox, all I'm doing, I'm saying, okay, let's figure out the money to the point where we don't have to give you one of the big three. Can we get by that where you don't have to give up costs? Because it's going to cost one of the big three if you go get Burns. If you can just get past that point, figure out the money, however much you're going to end up taking on, and do it that way. Flex the financial muscle. That's what the Boston Red Sox are supposed to do.
Right.
If you could get that,
it's like a bigger version of the Adam Ottavino deal. If you really want to kind of paint the picture in one way.
If you can get the AAV down to somewhere between 17 and $20 million, that would
for sure.
That would really be enticing to me. Yeah.
Even if they wanted to like lower the prospect return, like I think we're also forgetting we'd be getting an ace, which we've been lacking. And I still project Bayo to be an ace as soon as this year. Like I'm all in on Bayo. So all of a sudden you get Burns and Bayo. I don't really give a fuck what we're paying Yelich. I really don't. We aren't paying anyone else. I don't give a fuck about the luxury tax. Like we aren't paying anyone else. Chris Sale's money does come off the books eventually. Like we're not bound to these contracts forever. We need to start looking 3-4 years down the road. We can start stacking some bad contracts 3-4 years down the road.
I'm going to text him right now and ask him if he wants to come to Boston.
And I think it's worth noting, too, I don't know if you guys have already talked about this. This is the first in-person winter meeting since 2019. I think it's going to be super active for 2 reasons. One, that. 2, it's a bad free agent class. I think the reason a lot of guys haven't signed yet, not because it's collusion like it was during the Machado and Harper year, but because they're waiting to make some deals, and then free agency will shake out. I think we see a lot of deals next week.
I agree. And it looks like everyone's saying Judge is going to be done by the end of the winter meetings. Once that big domino falls, the shortstop market will all go in order. That'll be the next thing to go. And I will say, if you can, the Brewers, a poverty organization, that Christian Yelich contract is hell for them. Hell for them to have something like that on the books. Getting that off the books for them actually allows them to do some shit.
Yeah, I would. Like, it would be Rafaela and another prospect for Burns and Yelich and an undisclosed amount of money coming back. I'm doing that all day. All day. Because you're not just trading for Yelich. Like, the Burns is the headliner. And then it's like, oh, yeah, we get this former MVP. And he
should have been back-to-back MVP.
Yeah. He came first and second in 2 consecutive years. So it's
the only reason why he didn't win in 19 is because he broke his fucking leg. Like, he was on pace. Like, He actually stood. Who won it in 19 in the NL? I don't remember, but Yelich was on pace to win the MVP again.
It's Cody
Bellinger. Yeah. So he was on pace to win it again in 19, fouled the ball off his fucking kneecap, snapped his kneecap in half, and his numbers were still better than Bellinger's. And the only reason why Bellinger won is because Yelich didn't play essentially the whole month of September. But even if he plays those games and is league average, he's still the MVP.
Yeah, I'm all in on this. Like, I think this should be our top. Like, the Brewers in general should be our top priority.
Would you be disappointed, Coley? I know I wouldn't put him in the same class. I still think Brandon Woodruff's a really good pitcher. I'd call him like a really good number 2. But if they went that route, would you be disappointed?
Not disappointed, because, and I've thought about this. Obviously, I think Burns is better. I think that's just like a fact. Nothing against Brandon Woodruff.
This is 2017 all over again, where it's like, yeah, it'd be nice to have Chris Sale, but like it's Jose Quintana's cheaper, and he throws 200 innings. He's an innings guy, so maybe we should get Quintana instead. It's like, no, if you're gonna get a fucking ace, go get an ace.
I agree. I think they desperately need an ace. Like, I think we talk about Xander and what he means to this franchise. Having an ace versus not having an ace means a fucking lot. It still does. I don't care how far we've gotten with analytics and how far we've gotten with pitchers. Like, once it comes playoff time, if you don't have an ace, like, you're behind the 8 ball. It's true. It just is what it is. And Burns is 28, hasn't been paid yet. That's a guy I'm paying immediately. Like, the day you get him, here's your contract. You're here now. This is a problem we have solved.
Give him the
Bayo, you're here now.
The fucking
now Chris Sale. It doesn't matter what we get out of Chris Sale because we don't rely on it. It's not, and like, people are worried about Rodon. I'm less worried about Rodon. It seems like he's just healthy now, but we're not linked to him at fucking all. And Stats has pointed out every guy we've signed we haven't been linked to. The guys we don't sign we're linked to. So maybe that's a good thing when it comes to Rodon, but I just don't see it. I don't see that is where we're going, as much as I'd love to be wrong. I do think the trade is, and it can't be like Pablo Lopez. I don't think he's ever going to be a number one. I think he's a good pitcher. I don't think he's a number one. I would go get Corbin Burns or like Brandon Woodruff would be okay. It'd be an upgrade. We don't have many pitchers as good as Brandon Woodruff, so it would help.
We don't have any pitchers. We don't have any pitchers.
That's part of the problem. Get both. I'm okay with that. If they want an extra prospect, go get both.
And Yelich.
Pat just said, oh yeah, I think Yelich has to be in the deal. If you're the Brewers and you're trying to reset right now, it's like if the Angels trade Shohei after they sell the team. They have to attach Rendon to that deal. Have to. You cannot trade Shohei and not also trade Rendon.
Yeah, that's true. That's
which I'd also be interested.
Wait, what?
For Shohei?
You take Rendon?
Oh, yeah.
It's
a terrible deal.
Horrendous.
It's a terrible deal.
The
I think
worst.
It's the fourth highest AAV ever.
I still think it's going to cost. I think the price would still hurt my head.
It would. Yeah, that's why I brought up the Brewers. There's a reason I'm not talking about the Angels. There's a reason I'm not doing that.
I like Milwaukee.
Yes, I like Milwaukee. This doesn't cripple us in any way. They can't even use an excuse. Yelich, his numbers, the more I'm looking at them, the better he looks.
That's what I'm saying. Like, look at I don't think that they were otherworldly, but if you go to his game log on Baseball Reference, look at that Minnesota series before the series in Boston and tell me what he hit like the rest of the year from there.
I'm doing this?
Yes.
I'm not going to do that.
You're literally on his fucking page.
Game log. It was this season?
This season. Series before the Red Sox series.
Can we get a month? Oh, here we go. I found it. That wasn't that hard.
Yeah.
What are you looking for exactly?
His numbers from the series before. It was Minnesota, right?
Yep.
Yes. Yes.
Yep.
2-game series.
Yep. So those 2 games, like start at that game, the first game, and then go to the end of the season. What were his numbers?
Well, Minnesota, he did nothing.
So then start in the Boston series.
No, he had 1 good game. Minnesota. All
right, then.
That. These numbers don't look terribly different than the rest of the season.
I'm not seeing much of a...
What was it? Where were the numbers?
255, 368, 385 slug, 753 OPS, and on the season he had a
738.
Yeah, so a little better. But that's good. Like that again. That's better than a lot of the shit we were rolling out there last year.
I think if you got this, I think you want a little bit more out of Alex Verdugo, but something along this lines. And he has the athleticism that they've kind of bitched about with Verdugo. He stole 19 bags in 22 attempts last year. He's kind of given you what you'd hope Verdugo would have given you at this point.
And then if you want to play him in left, I think Verdugo becomes a piece you can start shopping, or you have your DH figured out. With a guy who can also play in the outfield, obviously. Tell Yelich to start, he can actually ask for this. I don't think baseball players understand.
Do you have a no trade clause?
I don't think is he 10-5?
He might have negotiated.
Yeah, with that deal.
But I think he's also 10-5.
It has a no trade clause.
Yeah.
So if Yelich really wants to, be powerful here, I'm requesting a trade and I'm only willing to go to the Red Sox.
Mm-hmm. Should we get him on the show right now to negotiate his trade to Boston?
Yes.
The night we missed out on Zach Eflin, we're going to get this deal done.
He just responded. I mean, we're communicating right now, so maybe I get him on the pod.
Listen, I've talked to him before. We get along.
Where did you talk? Oh, in the office.
Yeah, I hosted that game show.
Oh yeah. What was it? It was Smitty versus me and the Brewers?
Thought it was you and Smitty versus the Brewers.
It doesn't matter. I could have sworn I was
on
the Brewers team, but
you could have been. But yeah, I hosted that. I'm all in on Yelich to Boston.
Yeah, we're working on it. We're gonna make it happen. I'm gonna put Yelich and Heim in a group text right now and be like, boys,
figure it out.
Heim is Christian.
Do you have Burns' number too?
No, I don't. I did interview him, but I don't have his number.
All right,
Yelich does.
I'm sure Christian does. Yeah.
He definitely does. Yeah. Yeah. Is
A
it
Christian in Boston.
Wow. Who would have
It's
thought?
been months since we've had that.
Mhm. Yep. Now you got me thinking.
Listen, I don't come up here with nonsense. I can't wait till this gets aggregated and I don't get any credit.
If this trade or something like it goes down, I feel like it's going to be really hard to deny your involvement in the Red Sox front office.
Coley, I can't remember. I remember listening to it, the episode you did with Bradford. Did you mention that? Was that one of the trades you floated on there?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. I re-brought up the Tatis one because I needed to restake my claim. Like, this is my fucking trade. I brought up Bellinger because I knew he was going to be available. And what was the third one I had?
What did you have for
the other
moving
one was
parts?
Stanton.
Oh,
The other
yeah,
one was
Stanton. That's what it was.
You would take Stanton. Jared wanted Stanton more than JD.
Of course I would take him, but I don't know how, like, the Yankees wouldn't fucking trade him here. That makes no sense.
They've traded with us multiple times since I got here.
Yeah, they thought that Ottavino was a slapdick.
They don't think highly of Stanton, and they're too poor to raise the price on Judge.
He's literally the best player on their team by a large margin.
Giancarlo Stanton?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, I agree. They don't know that, though. The
Yeah.
fans don't know that.
No, they don't.
Like,
They would
I'm
be
all in
pumped.
on. If we get Yelich, I'd turn right around and still call for Stanton.
Yeah. And Yelich and Stanton were teammates in
They sure
Miami.
fucking were.
So
They
Yelich
sure
could probably
fucking
help
were,
facilitate that trade too.
They sure fucking were.
Mm-hmm. I don't have his number, but we follow each other on Instagram. Maybe I can get him in the group text.
Yes.
Pat hates how my brain works.
Yeah, what the fuck's your deal, Pat? You're being a party pooper right now.
I'm not doing anything. Which is probably
Yeah,
why
we
I'm
know.
I love sitting here and listening to the McMahon talk.
Well, I mean, do you have any
As
fucking...
a former player, how dumb do I sound?
Not that bad.
Do you remember what the moving parts were in your hypothetical Fernando Tatis Jr. trade?
It wasn't giving him a lot because I know they don't want him there.
And he's making $340 million.
Right. So they're still on the hook for a lot. And they just traded all of I think I tried to match up the prospects they kind of gave for Soto, but a little lesser. Like Blaze was James Wood, who should just still fucking be here if I'm listening to me. People forget I said that too. I told Heim to literally draft James Wood on the show, and he didn't. And now look, you can trade him for Juan Soto. Anyways,
It's not fair.
it's not. But it was like Blaze Jordan. I think Raffaello was in there. Probably Mata. So yeah, it'd be costly. I know they're not just going to give him away, but they do hate him.
Hate.
They made that quite clear. Every time they talk about him, it becomes more evident they don't like him.
Players hate him.
Yeah, and they're basically telling us they don't believe in him as a shortstop anymore. They're calling him an outfielder. So okay,
Yeah,
he's
right.
not playing that premier position anymore.
They literally want him to come back to catch.
They're going to put him at first. Like,
Yeah.
Alexander can't do it. Fernando can.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Pat, who do you think is the greatest baseball player of all time?
Who do I think it is?
Yeah. So I think at age 33, I finally have the right answer.
Mike Trout.
Not close.
Not even a little bit close.
Are you only saying
No.
that because you struck him out?
Nope.
Definitely.
Mike
Bad
Trout
luck.
doesn't even make the top 25.
That's a little uncalled for.
Yeah, that's incorrect.
It's not.
Yeah, it's
Ah.
firmly incorrect.
25? He's around 25.
Yeah, he's scratching at the surface of the top 25.
This is, I mean,
Jared, do you know who it is?
The best baseball player of all time?
Mhm.
I mean, I know who my answer is, but it's probably not who you're thinking.
You're gonna say Barry?
Yeah.
I think Barry's a good answer. I don't think it's correct though. Tyler?
Pokey Reese.
Finally.
Why do
Yeah,
I
who
think
you
you're going to
actually-
say like Tony Gwynn or something?
No, I'm not.
Barry would be my answer as well.
I think Barry's, if he's not one, I think he's two. Jake?
For me, it's between David Ortiz and Manny Ramirez.
I think those are both great answers. We were told earlier on the show Jason Bay was better than both, so I don't know that either of those-
That's not
Not
true.
wrong.
No one said that.
I think I could make arguments against every other player in MLB history except Willie Mays. I
Okay,
don't
so
know
you
what
were
the
being
argument against
reasonable.
Willie Mays. Why would I have been reasonable?
Because you said Barry Bonds wasn't the greatest baseball player of all time.
I said I think he's the other answer. I think it's one of them too. But I think Willie Mays was much better defensively.
Then Barry?
Even per the... Yeah.
How many fucking gold gloves did Barry win?
Not as many as Willie Mays.
Willie Mays has 12, and he made the All-Star team 24 times.
That was back when your name just got you there, though.
Barry
Willie Mays
Bonds.
deserved to be there.
Like,
Oh.
Willie Mays was making all-star teams when he was like 45 years old, hitting, 210.
He was making them when he was 20.
Willie Mays is a really good
And then he
player.
went to war.
There is points for that.
On the all-time...
And then he went to Candlestick where they were hitting directly into the wind because they didn't consider that when they built the fucking park. And he still hit 660.
On the all-time wins above replacement list, Tyler, I feel like you would know this. Does Hank Aaron have a higher career WAR than Willie Mays?
I'm going to go no. I'm not sure. I'm just guessing.
Hank Aaron deserves more credit, though.
He
I do
played
agree
for
with the
it.
point you're trying to make.
They both
Yeah,
played
because I feel like when people think of Hank Aaron, they're just like, oh, he just hit home runs. It's like, no. Hank Aaron was
No,
a
he's a
good
monster.
player. Yeah.
He's most doubles, too, doesn't
He's just a beast.
he? Yeah. Willie Mays invented the term five-tool player. Like, it was invented to talk about him.
Yeah.
Five-tool player.
I was going to, not that it would have been my answer, but I was going to guess that you were going to say Josh Gibson.
I mean, Josh Gibson's... When they recalculated home runs because they incorporated all the Negro League ones, they were like, I think he's at 880. Like, they don't know how many home runs he hit.
So, just for reference here, Willie Mays is third all time in Fangraphs WAR at 149.9. Hank Aaron is sixth at 136.3.
A bum.
Babe Ruth is number one, Jared. Bonds
No,
is
he's
two.
not. He's not. Like Babe Ruth, like to say that Babe Ruth was better at baseball than Ken Griffey Jr. is insane.
Why are
Insane.
you body shaming?
Because he's fat. Like Babe Ruth could not do the things that Ken Griffey Jr. could do on a baseball diamond. And no one talks about Ken Griffey Jr. as being the greatest to whoever lived either. He's somewhere up there for sure. And a lot of the conversation is he would have been if he stayed healthy, sure. But physically, Babe Ruth was not capable of doing the things that Ken Griffey Jr. could do. So I don't know why War would love Babe Ruth so much. He's a fat fucking piece of shit.
And
Anyone
on
who
top
played
of it,
pre-integration is out.
Yeah.
true.
Out.
So Babe Ruth is number one all time, and he played 483 less games than Barry Bonds. So
Yeah. So that's why we don't use wins above replacement on this fucking show.
nerd stats.
It's an imperfect measurement when you're trying to sit there and tell me that Babe Ruth was better than fucking Barry Bonds. Like, no, he wasn't.
Ken Griffey Jr. isn't even top 30 WAR all time.
I mean, that
Doesn't
doesn't
surprise me.
shock me. Yeah. It's the injuries.
He is actually number 41.
If you could extrapolate Ken Griffey Jr.'s production over the amount of games that Babe Ruth played, then what does that look like?
What? What'd you just say?
If you could
take healthy Ken
extrapolate,
Griffey Jr.
if
and
you could
just have him play
extrapolate
the amount
Ken
of
Griffey
games.
Jr.'s career production over the amount of games that Babe Ruth played, what would his career wins above replacement look like? It's not something that you're going to be able to calculate. It's a stupid,
Pointless.
It's a stupid
pointless
stat.
exercise.
huh?
Willie
Pointless
Mays.
exercise.
Yeah, it's a pointless exercise.
Willie Mays, I think, has the highest defensive WAR as well, and it's like Andrew Jones is 2, and it's a huge gap after that.
Are we going to sit here and say that Andrew Jones is not a Hall of Famer?
I would never say. I've written many times over that Andrew Jones should have walked into the Hall of Fame on his first ballot, and it's a joke that he's not in.
I think
I'm
so,
a Scott Rowland guy, so I'm right in there as well. I'm a believer.
It's only because Andrew Jones's career just fell off a fucking cliff once he turned 30. That was it.
But he started playing when he was 19. Like, that's
I
the
know.
other part of it. Like, he played 11 years before his career fell off a cliff. I don't know that it matters.
He
I
also
agree with
has
you.
like that character clause issue too. I was watching
What
who
the
was
fuck
it?
did he
Bailey's
do?
video, Foolish Baseball. He had the domestic violence case when he was playing as well.
Oh.
So, like, 40 people in the Hall of Fame.
I was about
Ty Cobb's in the Hall of Fame.
yeah, that was about to be my point. There's a lot of people that have done shitty things in the Hall of Fame.
Isn't there a chance
Yeah.
that by Sunday we can find out if Barry's going to be in the Hall on Sunday?
Yeah.
Him,
Would you vote
Kurt,
for him, Pat?
100%.
Did you take steroids as a player?
No.
You can admit it.
Should you have?
Yeah.
I
Should
threw-
you have?
I threw hard enough. I couldn't throw a strike. I wanted to take Adderall. Adderall, and there's another drug I tried to take.
Heroin?
But then the side effects I saw, the side effects was like it's like it manipulates like your brain chemistry to be able to make you not do what you like I did, where like I was like nervous on the mound not to throw strikes, and like you never go back. So I was like, nah, I don't want to not go back.
What kind of fucking medication would
Listen,
do
everything
something
is
to your brain that it can't be reversed?
when there are millions of dollars on the line, everything is available to you.
Was that like an SSRI?
I don't even know what that is.
was
Pat's
it
not up to speed on his drugs.
was it Chris Davis who got suspended because he
Yeah.
didn't get his Adderall prescription taken care of, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then he stunk. That was a
Yeah.
tough scene.
Which is crazy because like he got suspended for a banned substance, which was Adderall. And because he got suspended for a banned substance, it just, I would say somewhere north of 50% of baseball fans that are aware that he got suspended probably are under the impression that it was some sort of steroid. Just
Definitely.
because he got suspended for taking something that he shouldn't have. They're like, oh, yep, steroids. No, dude, it's fucking Adderall. It makes your dick not work. I'm not speaking from experience.
Sounds
No.
like it.
No. My dick always works, dude.
But yeah, get Yelich, bring him home. His dick works.
His dick definitely works.
Text that to him, Jared.
That was funniest day with Yelich was when COVID was like a still like a big deal. Like when it would get announced who had COVID, like it was like breaking news, fucking so and so. As like back in those days in 2020, and he FaceTimes me and I answer. I'm like, "What's up, dude?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm not feeling so good," and I was like, "Oh shit." I was like, I was like, "What? Did you get tested or anything?" He's like, "Yeah, we had to do the swabs and whatnot, blah, blah." And I have MLB Network on, like in the background. And we're just talking. He's like, yeah, he's like, just to be safe, I'm going to have to be held up in this apartment. I don't know what to do. I'm bored as hell. 15 minutes maybe into the conversation, just fucking breaking news on MLB Network, and like Christian Yelich of the Milwaukee Brewers has tested positive for COVID-19. And I was like, oh fuck. I was like, you're probably not gonna be able to go outside for a while now. That's a tough break.
How long was that season?
60 games.
He played 58. No, we didn't take that disease nearly as serious as we
So
should.
then was it last year? Was it the beginning of 21 then?
It might have been because you played 117 then, so it might have been.
Yeah, that would make more sense. I think it was last year then. Yeah.
July 17th, 2021. And during his time on the COVID list, he actually picked up guitar.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
Pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. We just talked for hours because he had nothing else to fucking do. He's just stuck there. That was very funny. Breaking news on the call. Just damn, got the vid. But now he's going to be on the Boston Red Sox.
I welcome it.
Future Red Sox. Well, we didn't get to this part yet, Coley. What are the odds that Alex Verdugo has played his last game with the Boston Red Sox?
I think it's entirely dependent on what else they do this offseason. Like, I don't think you just trade him.
No.
Trade him. If they've made up their mind they're not going to pay him, now would be the time to move him. I'm tired of waiting a year too late with guys. Like, have some, like, look forward a little. Like, it seems like we haven't done that as often as I would like, whether it was Dombrowski or Heim. Like, and I'm not even saying Heim hasn't looked forward, but I would like to look forward a little bit more than we have. So if Verdugo's not the long-term answer, and he may not be, then yeah, now would be the time to explore trading him. But if not, like, I think he's a fine left fielder. Stat said something during the 21 playoffs that stuck with me. And he's like, I picture him getting a big hit for this organization. And obviously we haven't played enough big games for him to do that yet. But I don't disagree with that assessment. Like, he has that kind of edge. And in 21 specifically, I remember being furious that he was always trying to win games. He was always swinging for the fences. He's kind of scaled that back a lot. And now he will take a single when a single is all that's needed. He won't just try and walk it off every time. So I don't know. I like him. He took to right field way better than I anticipated last year. If there was one positive from the second half, I think that was it. The fact that because he was so dog shit in center. Like, I'll never forget that pop fly he dropped. I'll never forget it. But in right last year, he did a amicable job. I think he is a left fielder. And the people who said he's Nick Markakis were kind of correct when we got him.
But I like Nick Markakis.
That's weird. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
You don't trade Mookie Betts for Nick Markakis, but
no, you don't.
Nick Markakis is a good player, had a long career. And I'm interested to see, is he a guy who benefits from a lack of a shift? He might be. I don't know what his profile is, but I could see that.
It's really been Castillo who's been banging the drum on that, right? Like, speaking to everyone, he thought Verdugo would be the one traded. I think for him, yes. Are we going to unban him?
No, I'm going to call him just to fucking hang up on him.
Yeah. No way he's busy at 11 at night.
No chance.
Patriots are on.
Red Sox beat reporter.
Fuck that guy.
I just want him to sound happy one time when he answers the phone.
Constantly furious. Constantly furious.
Constantly just upset. You know how fucking upset I am? I'm trying to talk socks, and this guy either doesn't answer, or when he answers, that felt so fucking good to hang up on him.
Tough look. He has not even written an article about the Zach Eflin whole situation yet. No article written, nothing.
Is everyone out on Nimmo? I threw out his name and everyone was just like, fuck that guy.
That doesn't make me feel anything.
I think he's a player that's a lot better than a lot of people want to like have the conversation about. He's kind of what the Red Sox would need at the top of their lineup, like OBP guy. The leadoff spot has been such a disaster. I think it's been
awful,
horrendous. And I'm a Tristan Casas leadoff guy next year. I would buy stock in that. That's what I would do. But I think he would make sense, Jared. process it. It'll make sense. But with Nimmo, QO, it doesn't look like they're super interested, but he could play center or right, however they want to go about it. The only thing is the injuries. He is a guy who really has, I think he's only played over 100 games twice in his career. So that's what you would be betting on there.
But it's been better lately, right? He was early injury guy, wasn't he?
Last season he was healthy.
92 last. 92 and 21, 69 and 19.
I think he's really good. I just think, I think another team's going to be willing to go. I think if the Giants don't get Judge, they're going to ball out on Nimmo. And the Blue Jays seem super serious. They want like that left-handed.
It reminds me of Hunter Pence a little bit.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Dude, like 130 OPS.
Career high, 151.
Oh. 130, 145 in 2020
games last year. 385 career on base. I don't hate that.
The thing though, his batted ball profile is horrendous for Fenway Park. Like he would have not many home runs here. That is the one thing I remember looking at that.
Another thing I will say as well, they play half the games elsewhere.
It's
so
true.
like while they do play half of them at Fenway, we still play a lot other places.
Mm-hmm.
And if home runs are the only thing he won't, like he has 63 career home runs. He doesn't hit a lot of home runs fucking anywhere. But he's got, like, this was his best year, 2022. He had 130 OPS plus. His career OPS plus is 130. So it's like, for the defense, for the athlete, for the fucking void at leadoff we've had this whole time, like, I'm interested. When it just comes to money, and I understand now there's draft picks and shit tied to it, but when it just comes to money, I'm okay with that. And if he's projected like Megaphone Balls to say to get Shinshu 2 money, I'm okay with that. I think we have Shinshu 2 money, which I think was like 145 or something like that. Like not a crazy deal.
And he's a guy, like he has the arm. He could play right field for you if you really wanted to go that route as well, and wouldn't be a problem out there. But that's the stuff, like that's where the luxury tax bothers me, because if that's a reason you're out on a player that could make sense.
I don't know what this is. I don't know what this is at all. But Janssen Pujols has tweeted the eyeball emoji. I don't know what it means, but he knows what he's doing. So Janssen Pujols, 10:49 p.m., December 1st, 2022, has tweeted the eyeball emoji. That's not nothing. That's not nothing.
Every tweet is Devers. Every single response. Oh, Jared, there you are. Okay.
Yeah.
That's very funny.
What?
Everything that just happened.
What do you mean?
Playing the DMX music for eyeball emojis is very funny.
I mean, it's Janssen Pujols, who has been all over the Devers extension reports.
It's such a cruel time. Whoever the first athlete or reporter was to just tweet the eyeball emojis should be buried under the jail. I hate that that's a thing.
Eyeball emojis?
Yeah, just tweeting that when you know something, just holding it over the rest of us. Hate it.
I love doing it.
I mean, you're the biggest now. You don't even tell me when you know things.
I tell you sometimes.
The problem you just said is sometimes.
Sometimes I forget. It's never like I'm purposely withholding information from you. It's just sometimes I'm like, I find something out and I get so excited I don't know what to do with it.
Now, whenever something bad happens, I legit run to Jared like crying. I'm like, please tell me. Like when Peter Gammons tweeted that thing out, I was legit sobbing as I was texting Jared. I was like, please explain this. What is this? Yeah. Please tell me you've heard something different.
Yeah. And then I just throw some texts out there, some feelers, and you find out some things and you move on with your life. So maybe that's something, maybe it's not. I don't know. All I know is that I'm getting real fucking tired of no legit rumors. Really,
it'd be so interesting though. If they did get Devers, imagine if it broke, how that would make everything turn with the Bogarts conversation.
Ugh.
That's the momentum swing we need.
That probably only happened once in Section 10 history, where like the Jackie Bradley Hunter Renfroe trade happened while we were recording a podcast. Like, very rarely are you getting like fucking holy shit news coming down while you're on the show and capture everyone's reaction in real time. And to get Alex Benelis on the podcast before we were done recording. I don't know. Pat, what's your gut telling you? Where the fuck did you just go? Did you just go take a phone call or something?
No, I was hungry.
What'd you go get to eat?
A little peanut butter slice.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I ate dinner early, try to have a big one. So I usually be in bed by now. And I got an early morning start tomorrow. So then,
all right, you know what, Pat? If you got to go to bed, you can go to bed.
Thank you.
I want if you need to go to bed, please go to bed.
I will. Don't worry.
Are you sleepy?
Listen, it's tough out there right now.
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, it's it's a dog eat dog world, right?
Oh yeah, a lot on my mind.
Dogs very rarely eat dogs.
Mm. Depends on the situation, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never seen a dog eat a dog.
Not once.
I've seen
Do
a dog
wolves
bite
eating
a dog.
dogs? That counts.
Yeah, I guess like a coyote eating a dog counts, right?
And that happens a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Coyote's
Isn't
kind
that
of a dog.
That's
Yeah.
a Maine problem,
Kind of.
isn't it? You guys got a lot of coyotes?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we do. Chris Paul's trending right now for a very hilarious reason. I just came to my attention. But yeah, that's why I'm laughing. That's coyotes are in Maine, yes.
Oh my.
What happened?
Chris Paul
A really
slinging dick.
bad person. Yeah, a really bad person tweeted out one last thing before I go. I caught Kim Kardashian in bed with this guy, and it's just a very random picture of Chris Paul. Like Chris Paul is as photographed as a human could be, like on the planet. Like so many ads on TV constantly. I have no idea where this picture could have come from, and all of it's just very funny.
Is that the media guide?
I don't know who the other names are.
No, those are old men.
Let's break
Yeah, like
one
those aren't
last
other
window
players,
before we
like,
get
I
out
don't-
of here. I caught this guy with Kim. Good night.
Not a player of him on the court. Not a player of him in a State Farm commercial.
I'm not trying to be foul, but this might be Chris Paul's biggest W of his life. This might be it.
I don't disagree.
There's been a lot of bad L's.
Exclusively else.
Good for he needed this.
Chris Paul. You're telling me Chris Paul had sex with Kim Kardashian?
I believe it. Someone tweeted, "Bra ended a long day of anti-Semitism with Chris Paul fuck my wife. Sweet dreams." What a day. Yeah.
Why even throw that on top of everything? Like, is that supposed to make you look better?
Listen, I'm not trying to get inside that guy's brain right now.
And now people are retweeting this tweet from Kim Kardashian. Great time tonight with CP3 comment at the Jeep and USA basketball event from 2012. Go Team USA.
Hey, Christian Yelich, Corbin Burns.
Listen, Christian Yelich might be able to bang Kim Kardashian if we're being 100% honest. He has the Pete Davidson look
Definitely.
going for him. We could be full circle.
Janssen Pools responded to my tweet.
Don't ruin it.
He said, "It's about winter ball, Jared. Sorry, I forgot you guys have the alarms ready on deck. My bad."
That's why people shouldn't be allowed to do that. No one gives a fuck about eyeball emojis for winter ball.
I mean, how the fuck do you... Who the fuck? Eyeball emojis for winter ball? Come on.
That's illegal.
Yeah, that's... Can't do that, Janssen. I'm still a Janssen guy, but that was foul.
That's insane.
Yeah. Tyler, are you ready for your segment?
I am. Do we have
Mr.
the
Milliken.
sound?
No, I didn't
Jared.
pick one.
Jared.
I didn't think that you were prepared. So
You
I
just
didn't
lost
prepare.
faith in me?
Yeah.
I had this all planned out. The bell was going to go
All right.
off.
Well, I
and
mean,
be all
it's, you
professional.
know, if it go, this is the pilot. The pilot usually doesn't have like the banger intro theme that the show eventually becomes known for. So like this is the pilot segment, and if it does well, then we'll have a Mr. Milliken theme song next week.
Now I'm feeling nervous. There's a lot of pressure on my shoulders.
Yes, there should be.
Hello, class. Now you guys say, hello, Mr. Milliken.
Hello, Mr. Milliken.
Nothing from Coley, Pat, or Jake. This pilot's not started strong. It's okay. It's all right.
Crowd.
We're going to have some fun with math today with some advanced analytics. Okay, guys?
Okay.
All right.
This is why I didn't say hello.
You guys fucking suck. We're going to do FIP today. Everyone tweets me about FIP and is always complaining about it because I use it all the time. It's not a... Wow.
That left.
This is the worst day of my life. I was going to use Pat's FIP as an example that what kind of pitcher he was. So it's probably best that he left anyways. Don't do me like that. Are we continuing with this or are we not?
There we are.
Okay. Today we're learning about FIP. My favorite metric, the one I use the most. Some front offices push back against it. They're not super big fans of it. But it's not that hard to grasp. So if you don't know what FIP is, consider it on the same scale as ERA. So if you hear a 3 ERA and a 3 FIP, it means the same thing. It's a really good pitcher, right? But the way FIP works, it kind of takes out the bad luck for a pitcher on the defensive side of the ball. It focuses on strikeouts, walks, hit by pitch, and home runs allowed. You use those things, what a pitcher control, and it takes out that bad luck. So it does a league average BABIP. Call it 300, right? If it's below 300, usually a pitcher's lucky. If it's over 300, they've been unlucky. In this case, this kind of tells you what a pitcher's real talent level is. It's not always accurate. You want it over a long sample size. There's guys who break it. Ryan Brazier had a mid-3 FIP this year. He's someone who makes the stat look very bad. But if you want someone who makes the stat look very good, it's Brian Bayo. Anyone who watched Brian Bayo this past year, Coley, no eating in my class, but I'll allow it for the first time. Brian Bayo this past year. Anyone who watched Bayo, we saw blooper to death, right? A lot of tough grounders, a lot of unfair luck.
BABIP. Yep.
471 ERA, 291 FIP. What was his BABIP? It was 404. That tells you he was extremely unlucky.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to Michael Wacha, he had a 332 ERA. He had a 260 BABIP, which means he had a lot of luck go on his side. The FIP was 414. Since 300's league average and a lot of things went his way, it brought him back to where he most likely would be. A pitcher with over a 4 ERA. So just look at those things. What a pitcher control. Strikeouts, walks, hit by pitch, and home runs allowed. And just makes it fair on the, batting average on balls in play, whether you have good defense or bad defense. This is funny to you guys. This is how you're going to treat me in my own classroom.
Jared went to community college and I dropped out. Like, we're not great students.
That's true.
You guys are pathetic.
At one point,
worst
I
day.
also did drop out. No, I thought it was good.
I do think it's helpful.
The class is over.
No, I thought it was good.
You're just playing
I thought
that to
it was
hurt my
good.
feelings.
I didn't play that.
You know
Jake
what?
has a soundboard.
No, he doesn't. And Pat, I
Yes,
know
he
you're
does.
not listening, so I can say whatever the fuck I want. What you did, low blow. That was a low blow. I thought you believed in me. Pat, I believed in you when you were in fucking AA, and you treat me
Yeah.
like this. I
No
didn't
one
even get
did.
to start. Nobody
Mhm.
did. I was tweeting about you. That tweet had no likes. Not
Yeah.
one fucking person believed in you. But I believed in
That
you. And then you
tweet
got
had
traded for
no
fucking
likes.
Fernando. Got traded for Fernando Abad. Good luck.
Yeah.
Goodbye, Pat. Goodbye. Resuspend
That's
him.
tough.
Putting it
No
up for
likes.
petition.
Yeah.
Do you guys feel like you learned something today?
Well, I obviously I'm familiar with FIP, but I'm sure that there are some listeners maybe who aren't so familiar with FIP. So I'm assuming that someone somewhere learned something today.
Huh. I hope you're happy. And you know,
I
Jared,
am happy.
you gotta,
I thought it was a good segment.
Nope.
Jake,
Nope.
Jake, was that a good
Spare me.
segment?
Don't bring
Jake,
Jake.
was that
in.
a good
Jake,
segment?
Please, Jake,
Jake,
please,
was that a good
please do
segment?
not speak. Jake, I'm
Was that a
begging
good
you,
segment,
please not
Jake?
to speak. If you have any respect for me, please do not say a word on the
Jake,
mic
speak.
right
I was
now.
going to defend you, Tyler. I think it's so fucked up what Pat just did.
Yeah, it was.
He had like an
And I'm
hour
gonna
and a
add-
half to leave when he didn't say a single word. And right when you started your segment, he just bounced immediately.
That's what I'm saying. Is like, I mean, I can't cue up Pat to speak every time. Like, if you're gonna be here, then fucking get in the mix. I can't hold your hand through a podcast. If you have something to say, fucking say it. If you don't have anything to say, then why are you just sitting there? I don't know.
Eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Yeah,
I will
it's
say,
like-
Jared, I think if you want to take some accountability, that would go a long way right now. Not just for me, but for the listeners as well. Not giving me, the school bell alarm. That I feel like that would have set the tone for the entire segment.
That's gonna be part of the
It's
fucking.
not all your
theme.
fault.
Just let me work my magic. Next week, I'll have a theme song for Mr. Milliken, the segment, and it'll be a whole thing. I'm excited for it. I'm excited, and it's gonna sound really good. It's gonna get people excited for the segment.
Next week, in my classroom, Mr. Milliken
Yeah.
will be talking about weighted runs created plus.
Oh, I'm excited. It's a statistic that I feel like a lot of people use. Not a lot of people understand it.
Exactly. Guys, I have a problem.
What is it?
Your computer is not allowing Riverside to record. Please
Just-
refresh to continue recording.
Just refresh.
Okay.
Refresh it. That's going to happen to all of us. That happens.
I'm cruising. I mean, your video's not there, Jared, but other than that,
My video is not there.
I see him now.
no. Just Jay.
Was it like that the whole time?
There he is.
I didn't go
Not
anywhere.
bad.
I've been
It's
here
just the
whole time.
connection.
Just recently.
It'll still record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coley, hypothetically speaking, if something Xander related happens during the winter meetings, would you be available for an emergency pod? Tyler, are you
Yes.
going to be in the headspace for an emergency pod?
Dude, I'll quit my job. Whatever you need. Just tell me the time and the place. I know we all have different schedules, but if something
Mhm.
breaks, I've told them at work. Whenever Red Sox news breaks, I kind of just disconnect for the rest of the show typically. It's just kind of
Right.
how it has to go.
Yeah.
I was going to say, if he resigns, no. If he leaves, yeah.
If he resigns, you wouldn't do an emergency pod? That's the one that you want to be on.
Oh, no. No. If he resigns, that should have already happened. Like, I'll still be aggravated that it took the. And what I'll be aggravated about if he resigns is the fucking idiots who are like, you shouldn't have paid him. That's going to piss me off because those people exist. There are people who do not want him here.
That's crazy.
There's a lot of them. There's a lot more than you would think. I wouldn't call it the majority, but no, it's not the majority. There's a fair little chunk of, a lot
people
of the
that don't want Bogarts back.
Yes,
correct.
Who are these people? Would I recognize any of their Twitter handles?
I don't, but they pop up every time I tweet something pro Xander.
They immediately cite. They say that he'll never hit for power again. His batting average on ground balls was extremely high this past year, and they don't believe in his defensive progress this past year.
I'm not going to sit here and say that Xander's defense is going to continue to get better, but like the idea that at 31 years old, he can't go out and fucking hit 30 homers again is crazy.
It wasn't even progress. It was just he gave a fuck for a whole season. He usually only saves that for the playoffs. It was a contract year. And people told him he wasn't a shortstop. He showed up. He showed you could do it every day. Every playoff series, he's like, what's a costly error Bogarts has made in his career? Like truly costly, not fucking April 28th. Like an actual costly. Never. Not once.
Never.
Probably made arguably the best defensive play of the 2021 postseason run, getting Judge at the plate on the relay.
Definitely. 1,000% did.
Mm-hmm.
That's who he is. He's too cool to give a shit for the whole regular season.
It's too cool.
What happens if we get?
That's what I want for my shortstop.
What happens if we get the dual presser announcement? Then would that do it for you, Coley?
Devers as well.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Or is both of those check the same box to you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm annoyed that these are even things to talk about still. Like these like that's why it's so annoying. These are such obvious moves that it's insane that neither of them are done. Like, what's the negotiate? How outrageous is Devers' ask that the Red Sox are just like, no?
Aren't they off by like $100 million?
I think
but that seems like the Red Sox are wrong.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I think Heyman had it as a $80 million gap last time. Red Sox were right around 220. Devers wants 300.
That's absurd that the Red Sox are only at 2. Is this because of fucking Austin Riley?
Yes.
Didn't when he get 240?
And Matt Olson.
So yeah,
he got like 217 or 212.
Yeah, Austin Riley was 10 years, 212. But I'm guessing Devers. I don't think the Red Sox, and this goes back to June Lee's reporting, the Red Sox are wary of going 10 years. I'm guessing the money's in the right place AAV wise, but they're at like 7 years, and Devers is like, no, dude, I want the 10-year contract. I want, like Fernando Tatis, like all the stars my age that are 26, 27. Give me the deal that's basically makes me a Red Sox for life.
Right. Insane to not do that. Like, we have no money on the books 10 years from now.
No.
Literally $0. Zero. The luxury tax will be higher by then. You cannot worry about a $30 million contract 10 years from now. It does not matter.
I mean,
we won
10
a World
years
Series
from now,
with Dustin Pedroia playing as much as I did.
10 years from now, a player that's worth $30 million right now is going to be worth $50 million, $55 million.
Without question. That's why you said, if he wants 10, 300, that's a bargain.
Yeah. But also, is he going to be worth even that then? I don't know. Who knows?
It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. We're not paying him for the year 10. We're paying him for years 1 through 8.
It's the Miguel Cabrera thing, right? Like, you got those crazy, ridiculous good seasons where he was the best hitter on the planet. Now, for the last 2 or 3 years, this upcoming year, he's useless. But, it's nice to have him around. He's a leader. Guy who can kind of help the younger guys.
I can't worry about age 35 Rafael Devers. I just can't.
I can't picture him at 30. It makes me like uncomfortable. I don't even think he can become 35.
There's a strong possibility. It's like, I mean, we did this like that. This is why talking about the GM almost is meaningless to me. Multiple GMs told David Ortiz, like, we can only give you 1 year for a decade. And he retired. And it was like, maybe he should still keep playing. Like, it's maybe Rafael Devers at 35 is like, oh, he's just a DH now and he's hitting 40 home runs and we're giving him a 5-year deal again. Like, that's why I can't worry about it. You don't know. It could go either way.
And I just look at Devers. It's like usually what pushes guys away from playing in the field is range. Like, that's the Xander conversation. Like, he probably can't play shortstop, let's call it 2 more years or whatever. But ultimately, the range is what's going to cost him there. We know he can make the plays. Devers has never been a range problem. He has fantastic range for a third baseman. It's the fundamentals sometimes that he overthrows or he gets a little weird. He improved there this year. Let it keep going. He's 26. Yeah. He's still so young. And if Adrian Beltre, a guy who is one of the greatest of third basemen defensively as well, says he believes Devers is going to get there, I'm going to listen to Adrian Beltre.
I would just pay the good players and not pay the bad ones. Sometimes I think it's that simple and it gets overlooked. We had 3 franchise guys. We already opted not to pay one of them. Don't do that with the other 2. Just don't.
Coley, you're saying what Stats is saying lately on Twitter. Not, he's speaking of the free agent market, but pay for premium. Don't pay for, the middle tier, mediocre area.
It's crazy. And it's crazier that the Yankees don't see it. Like, I almost get it more with us. I don't get it for any team. But like the Yankees being like, sorry, Aaron, like they've been nickel and diming him, like because of arbitration this last year happening in the middle of an MVP campaign and them being like, we think you were a 17, man. I don't know what to tell you. Like, that's embarrassing. They should be embarrassed. They should be truly embarrassed, especially since they're not even the deepest pocket New York team anymore. Like, the Yankees are embarrassing. My goal is to continue being as loud as possible to make sure the Red Sox aren't equally as embarrassing as that team, because we can't be. Like, there's no excuse for it. And it infuriates me that there's a vocal minority of fans who endorse this kind of behavior. It's despicable. Like, what else is it? Like, if we're not going to pay Xander Bogaerts, there's no point in paying anyone ever. You paid Trevor Story, and Trevor Story's a fine player. I don't mean to harp on him. He's done nothing for this organization, especially at the time of the contract. They paid Rick Porcello, who went on to have a fine Red Sox career. Nothing special. They paid him sight unseen. You cannot keep paying players who've done nothing for your organization and keep stiffing guys who've done everything for your organization. That's bad business. You can talk about the bad business of paying 36-year-old Rafael Devers all you want. It's better business than not paying him at all.
And that's where that narrative grows, where players on the outside, when you're trying to convince them to come here, to believe in what you're doing here, they're not going to trust you because they know when it comes time for them to get taken care of, they're just going to be sitting there. And you're going to have someone like Xander Bogaerts who all year just never looked like himself mentally. And can you blame him? The guy has wanted to be a Red Sox more than anybody. He said it again and again. You spit in his face and told him in spring training, you're not worth as much as Trevor Story. The guy who, by every metric, you were better than. Anyone who was saying Trevor Story was a better player than Xander Bogaerts is, I don't know what narrative you were flying under, but you were on drugs back then. And then he went out there and showed you why he is still Xander Bogaerts. And yeah, at times, was he upset? Did he maybe say some things that weren't always 100%, pro the organization? No. But did he ever shit on you? Did he ever make you look bad? No. And I was listening back to those comments when he was in New York and they were asking him, did you feel disrespected, Xander, with what the Red Sox did? And he goes, I didn't say that. He still would not say it, straightforward. No, they fucked me over. I wasn't happy with them. After all that, still would not cross that bridge against them. That's who Xander Bogaerts is. Oh. And if you're going to put what these fans, what they went through, where people like me, I think a lot of us, I know, Coley, you're a little different on that, but Jared, we justified the Mookie Betts trade for what it was so that when it came to Xander Bogaerts and Rafael Devers, you'd never have this problem again. Well, hey, all of that is completely out the window. Whatever that narrative was, you lied and none of it was true. And now you're paying not only for the Mookie pain again, it's the Xander, it's the Devers, and that's when you, like you said, it's not a Bloom problem. You better be calling out ownership and saying, sell the fucking team. And I know some people are like, how could you say that? How could you ever do that after all the championships? Things change. And when John Henry and these guys are more focused on the portfolio, that's stuff you kind of wonder into. And, some of the business, these guys cared more about the Red Sox than anyone. You have people they're invested with, LeBron James shitting on Boston and the Red Sox. Mass Mutual even. Yesterday, whoever the head dude is like, yeah, I'm a Yankees fan. I'm hoping the Red Sox come in second place. Like, there's certain things where it's like, all right, you seem like you're not paying attention on the move side in the baseball ops. Are you paying attention to anything you're hearing on the outside anymore?
I don't think so. I really don't.
And And if that's the case, we should all be friggin' terrified.
Yeah.
It's just
it is depressing because I don't imagine getting to a point where I don't think we're there yet, but you're kind of like looking around, loading up, make sure you have the ammo for the sell the team movement. like you're I'm not there yet. But if it continues down a road like this, and let's just say worst case scenario, they don't re-sign Xander. And then everyone's like, oh, fuck, it must be because they think that they can pay Carlos Correa, the younger guy. And then they don't sign him. They're not even in the conversation. Then you're just like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here with our baseball team?
Like,
which is crazy to be in that position that, 4 years removed from what we were in 2018. Coley?
Is there a chance the Red Sox sign a shortstop before Xander signs anywhere?
One of the top shortstops, or are you referring to like some stopgap style shortstop?
No, I would have to be
like Dansby.
Dansby came to mind. Yeah, a guy I'd want no part of.
That would just be one last slap in the face to Xander on the way out.
Right. And we know they'll do that. They did it to Francona. They did it to Mookie. They do it to people.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and like you could picture it, right? Like, do they justify it saying, well, we believe Dansby's going to be at shortstop a lot longer than Xander will be, right? Like, we think he can play
shortstop. But then what do you say about Marcelo Meyer?
I agree.
The whole point of Xander is because he's not going to stick at shortstop.
Correct.
And by, the end of 2020, I think we'll be talking Marcelo Meyer, August, September 2024. I think we'll be like, all right, he's ready to come up. You can tell Xander, hey, you're going to get to finish this season in your spot. But when we get to spring training in 2025, look at left field. Who knows where Devers will be at that point? Maybe it's third base. Maybe, hopefully he's not at DH at that point. But if it's third base, that's a conversation. Or if it's, hey, maybe it's time to trade Trevor Story, maybe that's the conversation as well.
It wouldn't surprise me. Because I do think Correa wouldn't move to second. I genuinely believe that. And if the whole idea last year was if they talked to Correa, like I was saying earlier, and they floated second to him, he said, no fucking chance. You do go get Story with the idea that Correa Story will be your middle infield. So there's a chance. I don't think it's going to be Dansby. For whatever reason, I just don't see it. But it wouldn't shock me if Correa's the move, if they did it before Xander even signed somewhere. And that would be wildly insulting.
Agreed. From a baseball move, like I think there's a lot to justify with it. I don't think it's the route you should go, especially with where the clubhouse is and everything's at. And the money you're going to have to invest, like, we're talking like 10 years. Like, you're probably going to be right in that range when it comes to Carlos Correa. There's a much simpler way. And sometimes the simpler way where you're not breaking up your clubhouse, where you're making the guy who's your franchise, Rafael Devers, happy, fits into the timeline with everything. Like Carlos Correa, yeah, it was a bad year defensively for him, but, the dude won the Platinum Glove the year before. Defensive metrics are fluky from year to year. We know that's what it is. I think he can still stick at shortstop for a while. I just think Bogaerts lines up with your timeline. It all lines up.
Correct.
Why are you making it this hard on yourself? And like Coley said, this all could have been done for 5/150, maybe 6/180, probably 5/150 in March, and we would be focused on, fixing the 1,000 other holes the Red Sox currently have right now. And that's where I get scared, like you said, with Dansby or something. Do the Red Sox sit there and it's, December 5th in a couple days or whatever, and they're saying, holy shit, Joely Rodriguez is the only guy we have signed. We need to get moving because everything's going. And we have $83 million to spend. We really haven't. We missed out on Eflin. We missed out on Jose Abreu. Say the next couple guys fly off. We need to start putting pieces in. And that's terrifying. And that's why I was scared Bogaerts was going to drag out. I hope him going to the winter meetings gets us an answer, at least in the month of December.
You know who else is going to be there?
Who?
Carlos Correa.
I bet we get something that he meets with the Red Sox. I'd be surprised if we didn't. But at the same time, that goes back, all right, well, you've basically told all these other guys they're your plan B publicly. Money talks. Money will talk at the end of the day, right? Like if you put it on the table, it will. But it goes back to this whole PR messaging. Something, it's not lining up here. There's something that's...
Well, to be fair to the game, you do have to meet with Correa because Xander's a Boris guy. So you have to.
So is Correa.
Oh, he is.
Yeah.
Correa is.
Well, then it doesn't matter then. Who's a shortstop non-Boris guy? I think most of them are.
Dansby, I don't think is.
Well, I don't want him, so that doesn't work.
Trey Turner. Is Trey Turner? I don't think he is.
I don't think he is either. Is he Excel?
I think he might be.
So you meet with Turner then. You meet with a non-Boris shortstop.
Yeah, he's not Boris.
Then yeah, you meet with Trey Turner.
Who is he? MVP?
CA Sports? Is that how you say that?
Ah, okay.
I also don't want Trey Turner.
If you're gonna go pay a 30-year-old shortstop, pay the one you have, and that you don't have to give $300 million to.
Correct. It's
that
not
I
a
don't
knock on Trey
understand.
Turner, great player, but for what you're paying Trey Turner, you can split that up in a bunch of different ways and be a better team because of it.
If I were looking at this class of just free agents, like top level free agents, which one do I think looks most like a lemon in 3 years? Trey Turner would be my answer without question.
Why is that?
If his speed dips at all, and that's really just a one injury thing, and he's commanding, from all reports, the top dollar of everyone, Judge included. Yeah, I don't know.
No, he's not looking for more than Judge. He's probably he's probably the same tier. Like I think he's going to get 300 for sure, but I don't think he's going to get more than Judge total dollars.
You just look at like Trey Turner though, over the years from 2019 to 2022, 348 BABIP, 353 BABIP, 362, 342. Speed. He's getting a lot of base hits off speed. Take that out of the mix and he becomes, normal speed or whatever it may be, average.
His defense is nothing to write home about.
Nope.
So it's like Trey Turner has been really good. He deserves the contract he's going to get. If I were a betting man and I had to bet on one of these guys not looking worth the money in a few years, that's where the money's going.
Hopefully we don't have to worry about that.
No, we're not even.
Well, they're not even
paying any of these guys.
Yeah.
We're buying the Commanders.
We're gonna be Commanders, Penguins. We need an NBA team. Las Vegas, right? That's what they're looking at.
Seattle. Bring it back to Seattle.
The Red Sox biggest offseason acquisition is going to be Mass
I just can't
Mutual.
be talking about Mitch Haniger. Just can't do it.
You're out, Coley. You're done with them. You hate them.
I'm out.
You're
It's not
out.
even a hate thing. It's like
He doesn't excite you.
Boston Red Sox, but like if Xander and Devers are already signed and Schwarber's still here and Mookie Betts is in right field, I'd love to talk about Mitch Haniger. That's not what we're talking about.
No.
That's not what we're doing here. I don't need a Cody Ross. I don't need a Hunter Renfroe. I need so much more than that.
If they got Brian Reynolds and had him in the outfield,
Yeah,
and it's like,
there's a name
would that
we
do it
haven't
for you?
mentioned yet.
Would that get you excited? Would that get it if he's just like your DH and you're kind of piecing him in whenever someone needs a day off?
6-win player 2 years ago, Coley.
11th in
I think
MVP.
I would need Bednar too.
Then you're giving up one of those three.
Yeah, that's a fucking hefty haul.
We're giving the Pirates a lot of credit.
The Pirates were asking a
We're giving
lot for what's his fucking name?
Bednar.
Bednards. Is
The
that-
middle of the season, yeah. Middle of the season they were. I
Right.
mean, Himes fleeced the Pirates.
What the
before.
fuck is his name, Tyler?
David Bednar.
David Bednar?
Bednards.
No.
Eric Bedard.
Yes.
Eric Bedard. Remember when he had to leave the Red Sox because he wasn't paying his child support?
You talk about a trade I was furious about.
Yeah.
I don't even think we gave up much for him.
No, he was nasty like the year before.
With the
Like,
Orioles.
he was like an ace, and then the Red Sox got him to try and get into the playoffs in 2011, and he had to miss time with the team because he had to like appear in court for not paying child support or some shit like that.
I'm shocked I never knew about this. I'm reading it as we speak right now.
What's the headline say?
Bedard served with child support papers before the game. It's just a picture of him walking off the mound sad.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
How
Red
old were you
Sox
in
Southpaw.
2011?
I was 13. I was a kid. I was still I was in middle school.
If we lost Xander, the one way to like keep me with the Red Sox is if they just, for whatever reason, acquired O'Neill Cruz.
Oh,
that's
stop it,
way.
Coley! Don't say shit like that.
If you're the
What do you do?
Pirates,
O'Neill Cruz is
Oh,
so
he
sick.
throws fast and he hits the ball hard. Bring him in.
you don't like O'Neill Cruz? That's what you.
Spare
That's
me.
what you mean
I'm
by
good.
that?
That's
yeah,
insane.
I can't. I'm good.
Tyler.
I'm sparing. Listen, I'm not saying it's not fun to watch him, but I'm good. Boomy, fucking Boomy, please. Turn it up. Turn it up. He's extremely talented, but I'm good. He's not. I don't think he's going to be the game
What did he
changer.
do to DeGrom last year?
Oh, God.
O'Neill Cruz is the
Imagine
realest
being
of
like
deals.
O'Neill Cruz. Pass.
I'm not dying over him. I'm sorry. Am I supposed to look at him and think
Oh
he's
my
a god or
God.
something?
Yes.
That's
It was-
crazy.
It was a nice season, but like, listen, am I fucking getting hard over a 294 OBP? I'm not.
How old
I'm
is
sorry.
he?
Ah, boy.
He's older for like a.
He'll be
rookie,
24
right?
next year.
Okay.
Yeah, the Pirates fucked with him a little bit.
Yeah.
But his minor league numbers, I'm surprised you're out because his minor league profile is almost 1-to-1 to Aaron Judge's minor league.
Yeah,
profile.
listen, I'm not telling you he's gonna suck, but I'm not amongst the crew that immediately
Spare
is putting
me.
him into.
Do I
into
think he's a good
stardom.
player? Yeah. Was he a highly rated prospect? Yes. Do I want him on my team? Absolutely not.
This is uncalled for. All
No,
I'm
it's
saying,
not.
listen, three
I draw
three
the
outs
line
above
at
average.
O'Neill Cruz slander.
Oh my God! 3 percentile outs above average, 4 percentile whiff percentage, 1 percentile K percentage, 17 percentile
He
expected
hits the
batting
ball
average.
150 fucking miles an hour.
Good for
Guy
him.
can't be a rookie.
I don't even know
Guys
why
can't
we're
be
having this
rookies
conversation.
anymore.
Listen,
I don't
all
even
I'm
know.
telling you,
O'Neill Cruz.
I'm
is
not calling
coming
him
to Boston
trash,
Red Sox.
but I'm not blushing over him. I'm sorry.
You just said you would rather die than you'd rather piss blood than have him on the Boston Red Sox.
I
That's
would.
what you just said.
I wouldn't go that far.
He might not
Crazy.
be the best Cruz shortstop in the NL Central next year, and he's still that cool.
Intriguing, but I'm not. I'm just not. He doesn't spark it for me.
That's crazy.
I think there'll be more Twitter highlights than stat page stuff you want to look at.
He plays for the Pirates. What do
Guys had
you
1
want
year
him
in
to
the
do?
league. Not even.
That's it. It's great. I'll watch him throw 101 miles per hour to first base. Fun.
That's not even what he's
Pretty
great
cool.
at. He can. Yeah.
That's just one of the things he's good at. I'm not saying he can't do anything else. He
But
hits the ball hard.
You're
he hits
saying
it
he's
far.
you're saying he's overrated
Runs
because he can
fast.
throw hard to first base. Like that's not even like his main skill.
I'm just saying that I think there's some other things that need to come together, and I'm not expecting him to be a star.
You're giving him half a
year.
season to figure it out. You half a season of big league ball, and you're like, PU pass.
No, I think he has some flaws in his game. I don't love the plate approach.
and you think that he can't fix those in
He'll improve.
full big league season?
He'll improve. I don't know if I see superstar. I don't know if I see Aaron Judge.
I
Let me put it like
don't
that.
know. The dude recorded the
Oh, yeah,
hardest
Judge is a
hit
superstar,
ball
so
in
agreed.
StatCast history.
Yes.
I don't know if I see star potential in this guy.
He hits the ball hard 100%, but you can't
He
swing at
hits the
everything in the same
ball
process.
Literally harder than anyone ever has.
Yes.
Ever.
And he also
Throws
was
it hard.
ever.
he struck out as much as anybody in all of baseball last year, and he was one of the worst defenders.
That's
rookie.
baseball. Sometimes
And
you
he-
swing
one of the worst
and hit
defenders
the
in the
ball,
entire
sometimes
sport.
you swing and miss the ball.
At a premier position, at shortstop as well. 1%.
Tyler,
Wait,
name
what
one
is this?
player who hits the ball every time he swings.
Who hits the ball? What? What kind of
Name-
question is that? How about you just hit it
Name
regularly?
one player.
How about you make contact regularly? That'll do it for me.
No. Name one player who hits the ball with the bat every time that he swings.
Every time ever.
Ever.
Xander Bogaerts.
Joey Votto.
This has never happened.
Joey Votto. That's
part-
a
part of
good
the game.
take.
No, he's
I'm just
definitely
saying there's
swung
some things
before.
here that make me concerned.
Talking about waiting to trade guys, the fact that we didn't trade Jarren Duran last offseason is a bigger miss than Bobby.
There's a lot of guys they missed the boat on, but it's okay. What are you going to do?
I'm curious what it's going to be like when he shows up to spring training this year. I feel like he's going to have like a ridiculously good spring training, and then people are going to kind of like get back.
He'll be Jackie
it,
Bradley Jr.
Exactly.
Hope it's for the Athletics.
Sign me up. Him and Bobby, put them together. Make
Bobby's the perfect Athletic.
Yeah, half an asset. My Cruz take was pretty good.
No one liked it.
Listen,
would O'Neill Cruz hit 0 home runs in a home run derby? Like your god,
All
Jason Bay?
All right, my Cruz take isn't as bad as your Jason Bay take.
Do the Red Sox even consider paying him?
Jason Bay?
And yeah.
I think they did.
Yeah,
Never
but they
even crossed
didn't.
their mind.
No, yes, they did.
Never even crossed their mind.
No, I think they offered him like 3 for $39, like they do with everyone. They're like, yeah, we'll give him the old 3 for $39. And people take that shit all the time.
Victorino?
Yeah, the Victorino, the Mike Napoli, the Ryan Dempster. Yeah, we'll give him the old 3 for $39 and see what happens. I think he got more from the Mets.
The Mets.
Who then traded him to the Mariners, right?
Oh.
I'm looking at O'Neill Cruz stats right now.
Just a guy who didn't need 2 massive ballparks. Like, just did not need that.
No. But for a while in Boston, Jason Bay was a guy.
Derby. He played for the team. There's no 2 ways about it.
What did he do to you, Coley?
Stop it.
He replaced
2009.
Manny Ramirez.
That's not his fault. What do you want him to do about that?
2009 was his only full season in Boston. Didn't he hit more than 40 homers?
I think he hit 44.
We talked about it earlier.
44! He hit 44 fucking home runs.
39.
Okay.
In 08,
So
he probably hit a combined 30 whatever between
31
between Pittsburgh and Boston, and then the next year with the Red Sox, he hit 44.
36.
Yeah. He never hit 44.
I have a question for you guys.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a great player in the MLB who strikes out 35% of the time?
O'Neill Cruz.
Final answer?
Aaron Judge.
Got some bad news for you, Coley. 25% of the time.
Don't give me his last season. What's his career?
28.
Yeah,
Been 25 the last 2
down.
years, though.
With Stanton. I'm sure it's hot.
Actually, this might be a decent one. 30% this year, but that was high for him. 28 for his career.
Oh, way high. Adam Dunn. Like, plenty of guys strike out.
A lot of guys. Adam Duvall.
Don't. Stop bringing him up.
You don't like Duvall?
He's all right. Dunn was 28%
Gallo's a
for his career.
Gallo's a guy I'd sign too. Just talking about guys who strike out a lot.
The Dodgers couldn't make him good.
Well, you can't shift on him anymore.
Can't shift on him.
Can't shift on him.
And no one hates the Yankees more.
That's
Joey
true.
But the way they hated him makes me nervous because I feel like that hatred could grow here.
No, they hated him the same way they hated Cliff Lee. And Cliff Lee shoved down their dicks every time he pitched against them.
They did. They hawked loogies on his wife during the playoffs.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Bad people.
Terrible
bad
people.
Maybe Joey Gallo and O'Neill Cruz can be friends.
Yeah, Joey Gallo exclusively strikes
39.8% this year.
That's bad.
That's your guy.
That's almost every time.
I'm taking Joey Gallo.
Jake's takes?
I'm just glad we're going to be able to keep this one under 4 hours for Pat.
Did he text the group chat after? My phone, I don't have it next to me.
Yeah. Did I say that on the air that I'm going to try and keep it under 4?
No, I think that was it?
I don't know.
Might have been pre-show.
I think it's recorded, but it's not It wasn't after we started the show.
I'll throw it.
I said I was
going
to try and keep it under 4 for Pat, who left an hour ago.
What's Yelich saying?
What's he saying?
Yeah.
I don't know.
How interested is he?
I don't know.
It's got to be pretty interesting.
You think so? I think he likes Boston. He's got friends here.
I agree. He likes you.
Yep.
He's aware of my existence.
Yep. Well, you live in
Certainly
Maine.
knows the team exists. Yeah, when he does rehab stints in Portland.
Portland.
Stay at Coley's house.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How far are you from Hadlock?
Farther than I was, but still only like 20 minutes.
Oh, that's not bad.
No.
Yeah, I think we it's obviously late right now. It's almost midnight here on the East Coast. But I think tomorrow morning I probably throw Yelich and Heim in a group chat. Is that illegal? Probably, right?
If Heim's not up right now, then he should be fired. And I love Heim, but this is not the time to be sleeping, Heim.
Good take.
I don't think the Jeff Pass and Megaphone Balls said that he's awake for 20 hours a day. Do you believe that? I believe that.
Not year round, but this time of year, yeah.
Yeah, you have to be, right?
But there's not enough breaking news in baseball for it to be like he's not Schefter.
It's not even that it's the breaking news part. He's probably massaging relationships.
Sure, you don't need 20 hours to do that.
No, but you need to be awake early in the morning for the news cycle. And I feel like a lot of the relationship massaging happens after business hours.
Is that like an emoji text? Like, how would you massage that? They're just like, hey, I'm thinking about you.
Yeah. Anytime I'm trying to massage a relationship, I'm always there's a couple different ways to go about it. But feel like a lot of that happens late at night.
Text on.
I think it's relationship to relationship. I think plenty can be massaged midday.
I mean, not these relationships.
I'm also terrible at this. So
what? Massaging relationships?
yeah,
Oh, they call me the relationship masseuse.
definitely. You have a lot of connections. There's no doubt in my mind you're really good at that.
Mhm.
Me, I talk to like 3 people a day, and I created 2 of them.
Isn't it interesting that the guy who fucking hates being out and talking to people is good at building relationships?
Yeah.
Like I talked to Steve about this today. I was like, he's like, you would consider me a friend, right? And I was like, yeah, but like, we don't hang out.
Fuck no.
I was like, we don't like, when's the last time we hung out? It's like, it's been years. I don't hang out with people. I had to, like the last time that I hung out with Coley, his wife had to orchestrate it through my parents.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but like, that's not that weird. Like, besides like a couple of my boys from home, I feel like most men don't, that it's not like, hey, I'm just going to like come over and like sit on the couch with you. Like, it's not like a thing. Like, that's not typical.
I think if Coley lived closer, like once I got my house, I would expect to see him pretty often. Like if we were within
your apartment in New York once.
if we were within, huh?
Not one time.
What?
I never came to your apartment in New York once.
No one did. The only person that ever came to my apartment was Nate.
That's true. Nate loves doing the apartments.
Yeah. I feel like Pete Blackburn came there once. Nate came there once. That might have been it in terms of like apartment visitors. Oh, fucking Smitty went there one time. We live streamed during the 2018 series. It was like Red Sox versus Phillies and Aaron Nola was pitching and he just spilled some sort of substance all over my fucking carpet.
Chili, yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was. I'm pretty sure it was red wine.
Pretty good.
Yeah. But yeah, we would see each other a decent amount, right? If we were within a half an hour of each other.
Saugus. I went to your place in Saugus like 5 times somehow.
That's true.
Very random.
It's a good place.
Your new house, I'm sure I'll see.
Yeah, you'd have to. I'm going to do a housewarming.
Ooh.
Gonna warm up the house. You gonna come, Tyler?
Of course.
You gonna drink? You gonna drink at it?
Listen, I'm a social person now. I'm not scared to be out there like that. I'm a party guy. I like alcohol.
I'm a party guy.
That's what they
I
say.
drink
Yeah.
booze.
I hear them say it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's what party guys
Love
say.
liquor.
Mm-hmm. Jake, you gonna come?
Yeah, I love a good housewarming.
Yeah, it's. You don't see many of them anymore. They're rare.
Really?
Who the fuck's buying houses anymore? Everyone's already got one. You only warm that
That's
thing
what
one time.
It's true.
Yeah, it's not like, oh, it's Christmas time again. Time to put up the Christmas tree. Like, you only warm the house one time. So.
Mm.
How far are we in?
3 hours, 19 minutes, and 4 seconds.
Next time we record.
I'm just picturing Yelich being like, why are you texting me about getting traded to the Red Sox?
I mean, if I work for Nesson, does that in a roundabout way mean that I work for the Red Sox, which means that me texting Yelich about a trade to Boston is tampering?
No.
This is starting to sound like Cashman, Steve Cohen all over again. Steinbrenner.
Imagine if they launched an investigation.
Be a tough look for you.
I mean, you have no pull.
In regards to what?
Trading Corbin Burns and Christian Yelich to the Red Sox.
Oh, I definitely can't execute the trade. That's for damn sure. However,
I'm trying to get you off the hook. Don't.
yeah. However, my phone died. So it doesn't even matter what anyone might have said because my phone's dead.
Forever?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think so.
Yeah, he lost his number. Yeah.
I don't even have his number anymore.
Nope.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Fuck Pat.
Yeah, Pat did leave. Meant to hit that one.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
All right. Thanks for listening. It's been a good episode. Feel like everyone got their money's worth this week. And I know it's the off season, which means that there's only one episode a week. So we want to give you roughly 3.5 hours of your favorite Red Sox podcast. Coley, thanks for coming by.
Yeah, if they don't re-sign Xander, I'll be here. If they re-sign him, yeah, I mean, if they trade for Burns and Yelich, I feel like I should be at the introductory press conference.
Yeah.
I'm
just gonna be up there. Like, honestly, I was listening to this fucking podcast, and they just threw this idea out there, and I figured sounds like something that we should explore, and hopped on the phone. Next thing you know, we're waiving no trade clauses, and here they are.
I mean, Mike Francesa swears on his life that he's part of the reason Mike Piazza ended up in Queens. And I think he's right. Like, I think him and Mad Dog talked about it so frequently when he was leaving the Dodgers. Like, that they kind of influenced the Mets to signing Mike Piazza. So I've been chasing that high since I found out about that. Is this the one I want? I don't know that I can be picky. I don't know that I can be choosy.
Yeah. I mean, we kind of did with Price.
You did, yeah.
I mean, it was very podcast driven.
Was not on the show then.
You were there in spirit. I think if you asked people, was Coley there? They'd be like, fuck yeah, I remember Coley being there.
Probably. Yeah.
Well, I feel like I'm a good person because I was actually, listening to the podcast.
Yeah. Was Coley there?
Feels like it.
It felt like it, yeah. But I think real fans would know that Coley wouldn't be able to stand up in Pete's basement because it was made for little people.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no way he could have been there.
No.
No.
Several concussions.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, winter meetings are on the 4th, which is what?
2 days from now.
Tuesday? What day is today?
It's
Thursday?
Yeah, starts
Friday.
Sunday.
It starts
Friday now. It's officially Friday.
It starts on Sunday.
So
we're on the clock.
There's a non-zero chance that Xander Bogaerts could not be on the Red Sox by the next time we record.
I don't like when you say it like that.
Won't allow it. There's a non-zero chance Xander Bogaerts is re-signed on the Red Sox.
Yeah.
The next time we record.
Yeah. All right, let's leave it there then. The next time that we meet, it will be to celebrate the return of Xander Bogaerts, and we'll have to do that without Coley Mick in the fold. So, if you hung in for all,
wants to have a huge week and sign Xander and trade for Burns and Yelich, then
and extend Devers, they'd be taking on roughly $700 million worth of payroll.
Good.
I mean, do you want to win or not?
You're the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah, act like it. All right. We'll see you back here next week for the Xander Bogaerts contract signing party. We'll see you then.
Buenas noches, amigos.